from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Root Sports brings you Houston Astros baseball. Today it's the deciding game of this three-game series. The first place Astros take on the Seattle Mariners. Good afternoon. On Sunday, it'll be picnic in the park after the game. Bill Brown, Alan Ashby, Bart Ennis will join us in just a few minutes. And this game involves the Astros, who have a game-and-a-half lead now on second-place Texas, playing the fourth-place club. Seattle's 6.5 back, but it's kind of a swing game for the Mariners, whether they leave town 5.5 or 7.5 behind.
Yeah, it is, and you can look at it as a big game. I think the players on the field, everybody will try to say it's just another ball game. But I think for Lance McCullers, every time he goes out there, a big one, and he wants to hand it to the Seattle Mariners.
Well, the lefty Roenis Elias will pitch for Seattle, one of a number of southpaws the Astros have seen, but Houston counters with a power arm. 5
starts in the big leagues, and he has thoroughly impressed some of us, I can assure you that. He's got a lot of breaking balls showing here in this clip. But Lance McCullers, his stuff as good as anybody you're going to run into right now, starting in the major leagues. Great fastball. He's been spotting it well, up to 97 miles an hour. Breakaway or put away breaking balls, and he's got a Vulcan change to go with it. And the combination to go with that heart that this young man's been showing, just fantastic.
Well, the numbers are very good. In fact, that complete game 2 starts ago, making his ERA a little bit better in the last 2.
And you can look at some of the other deeper numbers. Opponents batting average against 145 in the last couple of games. The 050 whip would tell you there have not been many base runners. Has given up his first Major League home run. And he might give up some because he'll challenge hitters.
Coming up, Wellspring, the former power hitter known as George Springer, has shown a wide range of skills at the plate that's made him the Astros' most versatile hitter. Bart Ennis talks about the evolution of this Major League star when we return.
Their way in to watch the rubber match of this 3-game series between the Astros and the Mariners. Lance McCullers on the mound today trying to get win number 3 and continue what has been a very impressive start to his major league career. Yesterday was a tough one for the Astros, though, as they really took it on the chin, and the bats continue to struggle with inconsistency. But there's one guy in this lineup who has been very consistent this year, and he's the guy hitting leadoff, George Springer. George was 2 for 4 yesterday with an RBI double. He is right in the middle of a 6-game hitting streak. During the hitting streak, he is hitting .500. He's 12 for 24, and that makes him our TXU power player. Let's take a closer look at some of what George has done so far this year, because it has been impressive. You look at the numbers dating back to the last week of May, he has really been stroking it. Now, A.J. Hinch tells us that George came into spring training this year with the idea of not being quite such a pull hitter as he was last year. You know, he splashed on the scene last year, hit a bunch of bombs, but he was hitting pretty much everything to the left side. When he came into spring training, he wanted to learn to use the entire field, let the ball travel just a little bit more. And he has been doing that. And the graphic right here shows it. And you can see how the numbers have improved for him, going up the middle mainly, but also going to right field, as he did with that double yesterday. And, of course, once George gets on, he is a threat to steal bases. So this is a guy that puts pressure on opposing pitchers and on opposing defenses in a lot of different ways, which makes him perfect for that leadoff role. He also had to make a change this year from center field to right field. And that can be a little bit dicey for a lot of guys, but it has not been for Springer. He plays a sensational right field, using the corner, playing balls off the wall. We saw him rob a guy of a grand slam earlier this year. And, of course, he's got the huge throwing arm as well. So Springer off to a very good start and continues to progress at a nice pace for this team. They love the way George has been playing recently and his future with the team as well. Speaking of future of the team, Carlos Correa back out there today behind Lance McCullers. Oh, the youth movement continues. We will have more from Minute Maid Park, starting lineups and first pitch coming up next.
Riding a wave of momentum fueled by a new generation of rising phenoms who have taken Houston by storm. Today, Lance McCullers is breaking bad against a tough Seattle lineup, while Springer and Correa try to blast their way past the Mariners. It's game day in Houston. Time to catch the excitement. And an important day here as the Astros conclude this 3-game series. They'll be here for 2 more home games after this one at Minute Maid Park on Root Sports in Houston, Texas. 2 games with the Rockies coming up tomorrow night and Tuesday afternoon, and then on the road for a 3-city trip. So as they take the field with Lance McCullers warming up for this one today, the Astros are 35-28. They have a 1.5 lead on Texas, and the Angels are right there as well. It's a tightly grouped division with Seattle wanting to nudge a little bit closer. The Mariners are 28-34, and they have Elias on the mound, a young left-hander who's thrown the ball well this year, Ash.
Lance McCullers, as impressive as they get in 5 major league starts. He's been really good. 2-1 with a 2.32 ERA. Took his only loss last time out, that against the White Sox. Gave up 1 big swing, and that was the first home run he's allowed in the major leagues. Lance McCullers has a dynamic fastball up to 97 miles an hour, typically around 94, 95. Great breaking ball that he varies and gets a lot of strikeouts with. You see the 193 opponent's batting average against, 36 strikeouts already. This guy is tough and ready for the big leagues.
Here's the lineup he'll be facing for the Seattle Mariners today, managed by Lloyd McClendon. Seth Smith is the leadoff man and right fielder. It's Austin Jackson in center field. Robinson Cano at second base. The DH is Nelson Cruz. He cleans it up. He's followed by third baseman Kyle Seager, with Logan Morrison, who hit 2 homers and drove in 5 yesterday. At first base, Dustin Ackley in left field. Brad Miller, the shortstop. Jesus Sucre, the catcher.
Defensively, behind Lance McCullers, outfield left to right, Colby Rasmus, Jake Marisnick, and George Springer. Left side of the infield, Luis Valbuena and Carlos Correa on the right. Marwin Gonzalez and Chris Carter, and Hank Conger gets the start behind the plate.
The Astros are 7-2 against the Mariners. They're 5-1 against them here at Minute Maid Park. 1 series to go here this season. After this concluding game today, here is Seth Smith to get it started, the right fielder. And the fastball misses, ball 1. Paul Nauert is the home plate umpire. Smith begins the day at 266 with 5 homers, 16 runs batted in. Smith led off yesterday. He had 2 hits and it was hit by a pitch in the 8-1 Seattle win. And he's ahead 2-0 in the count. McCullers, with just 6 walks in 31 innings, has thrown a lot of strikes. He has fanned 36. Batting average against him just 193. That's at the knees for strike 1. That's his first outing against this Seattle club. Shooting for win number 3 as a big leaguer.
Early fastball sitting around 93, 94. He likely will increase that throughout the day.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
Immediately jumps up to 95.
Well, he has certainly been terrific for the Astros, as you mentioned. A supplemental pick after the first round in 2012, the 41st player drafted that year from Tampa, Florida. Made the jump from AA Corpus Christi to the big club at age 21. Now 3-2 to Smith.
Every once in a while he'll launch that breaking ball, comes upward out of the hand.
Smith is from Jackson, Mississippi. And that's a foul ball. He was the backup at the University of Mississippi for quarterback Eli Manning. For 3 years, he never took a snap in a game. Second round pick of the Rockies in 04. Then he moved along in a trade to Oakland. San Diego got him in another trade for Luke Gregerson prior to last year, and Seattle picked him up in a trade a year ago. Little chop goes foul, and he's battling at 3 balls, 2 strikes, forcing McCullers to throw. 7 pitches so far.
Very defensive swing on that last fastball.
Smith has banged out 17 doubles to lead the team, and he's second on his club in extra base hits with 25. That is strike 3 call.
Right there at the bottom of the knees, 94 miles an hour. Lance McCullers just continues punching out major league hitters. Maybe gets a little bit of a break on a couple of strikes, low strikes here in this first inning.
Austin Jackson comes up. Jackson takes the high heater, ball one, to a 266 hitter with 3 homers, 9 runs batted in. He had a pair of hits and drove in a run and scored another in yesterday's Seattle win. Right on the edge to even the count at 1-1. Just a year ago, Lance McCullers Jr. was pitching at Class A Lancaster. It's been a meteoric rise. On the tight breaking pitch, it's 1-2. He calls it a breaking ball, but it can be, in that case, more of a slider, or in another case, a bigger breaking ball, more of a curveball for Lance.
It really doesn't matter to a catcher as long as you know it's going to be that breaking style pitch and not the fastball that blows by you.
Fouled away.
There you go, up to 96. So he's starting to get loose.
It's been a really lopsided series so far. The Astros winning Friday night 10-0. Seattle winning yesterday 8-1. Both clubs with huge early innings, first innings. By the pitcher McCullers to Carlos Correa. Guns him down. He is a smooth shortstop.
Very smooth, and again, he does have that tendency of times of kind of coming up over the top to throw. He's accurate, and ultimately it's all about trying to find a consistent, accurate position from which to throw. Might have had a little bit of an unsure transfer, took a couple of extra steps, but he just comes on up and guns it.
Robinson Cano has 2 hits and a walk in this series. There's ball one to Cano. His batting average .240. 2 homers, 19 runs batted in. Numbers we're not used to seeing from Robbie Cano this deep into a season. 2 balls, no strikes with Nelson Cruz on deck. Last 20 games, Cano has hit just .190. He has 9 hits in his last 51 at bats. That's in for a strike, and it's 2-1. Looks as if McCullers can shoot for that area around the knees and get strike calls from Paul Nauert today.
Not super sharp here in the first inning, but not what you'd call out of sync.
It's 2-2. The strike zone is supposed to extend to the notch below the knee.
On that 2-1 pitch, he comes with a very good breaking ball in his case. Sliderish.
Fastball struck him out. He has a 1-2-3 first with a couple of punch outs. There's a 0. Elias takes the mound next. Now the Astros try to get to work for him with the bats. Their starting lineup is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Facing the lefty Elias, they go with right fielder George Springer. Shortstop Carlos Correa, DH Evan Gattis, first baseman Chris Carter, left fielder Colby Rasmus, catcher Hank Conger, in center field Jake Marisnick, at third base Luis Valbuena, at second Marwin Gonzalez.
And on the mound for Seattle, left-hander Roenis Elias, one of the Cuban-born defect players, and he's come on and done a nice job for the Seattle Mariners. 9 starts this year, good ERA, 3-3. He's made 3 career starts against the Astros. He's 0-1. He doesn't allow a lot of home runs, and yet Houston hitters have slammed 3 in 17 innings against him.
George Springer ready and taking ball 1. He's on a 6-game hitting streak. .260 batting average, 8 homers, 21 runs batted in. He's 4th in the league in walks with 35. .391 average in June, leads the American League. And he looks at that pitch. It's ball 2 to Springer. Springer, as the leadoff man, has been terrific for the Astros with a very high on-base average. He leads the club among active players right now with a .366 on-base average. Jed Lowry had a higher one, but he's injured. There was some chirping from the Seattle dugout. Paul Nauert looked over there.
I think Lloyd McClendon saw a couple of low strikes called for McCullers, and maybe thought that pitch caught on the backhand side by the catcher might have been over the plate.
Okay. 3-0 now to Springer. George has had 3 hits in this series. He's driven in runs in each of the first 2 games. And he draws a 4-pitch walk. That's we think might have sparked that.
Yeah, that second pitch. Let's see. It looked like a close pitch, but really not caught well by, I'm not sure if he's a pitcher or a catcher for Seattle.
He's both.
Yeah. Jesus Sucre.
Yeah.
Callable pitch.
They did miss the target, though. Carlos Correa now at .263 with 2 homers, has 4 runs batted in. It's been an eye-popping major league debut in the last week for Correa. He's 1 for 7 with a homer in this series, and the throw goes over to first. Springer with 13 steals and 15 tries, attracting attention. The Astros are 6 for 7 in steals against Seattle. Correa became one of 8 players in Astros history to have hits in his first 4 games. George Springer did it in each of his first 5 games in 2014. Correa was kept out of the hit column yesterday, but he homered Friday night in his first career game at Minute Maid Park. Line shot to right field coming over. Here's Smith for the catch on a well hit out number 1.
Nice job with the bat there by Correa. Unlucky hitting defensively for Seattle in the outfield, left to right. Dustin Ackley, Austin Jackson, and Seth Smith. On the infield's left side, Kyle Seager and Brad Miller. On the right, Robinson Cano and Logan Morrison. And behind the plate, fine relief pitcher Jesus Sucre.
Evan Gattis steps up. He's the RBI leader in the American League in his last 45 games since April 26th. There's ball 1 to Gattis. He is 9th in the league in runs batted in overall this season with 39. To go with 12 homers and a .223 batting average for Gattis. 1 for 7 with an RBI in this series. In for a strike from Elias. It's 1-1. As Ash mentioned, Elias from Cuba, was born in Guantanamo. He defected in 2010. He's been living in Austin, Texas. Astros beat him here May 1st, 4-3. He gave up 3 runs in 6 innings. Gattis hit a 2-run homer off him, and now line drive into left field. And here's Springer going to third, and the throw to third, not in time. Very bold base running move, works for Springer ahead of Dustin Ackley's throw.
In my view, one of the most exciting base runners in all of Major League Baseball, George Springer. You get him on the base paths, get him a chance to start airing it out, and he will fly, and he'll take some chances, and he doesn't miss. Nice job hitting by Evan Gattis. Get that off-speed pitch. Stay on the ball long enough. It doesn't matter sometimes how sharply you hit it. See George Springer, no hesitation around second base.
That could be big. Chris Carter bats now. Runners at first and third. Taking strike one. Carter's put together a 4-game hitting streak. Has a .208 average, 11 homers, 31 runs batted in for Chris. He's 3 for 6 with a homer in this series. The Astros had an explosive first inning Friday night, scoring 8 times. Seattle had a 5-run first yesterday. Fouled away, and it's 0-2. So both games essentially were decided, as it turned out, in the first inning. In each of the first 2 in this series. 7 times out of 14, he has gotten a runner in from third with less than 2 outs. Carter's 1 for 7 against Elias, who's jumped out in front of him 0-2. The right side of the infield is wide open for Chris. That went almost. It did hit him, and the bases are loaded. He didn't move, so it was hard to tell for a moment. But it did hit him, apparently on the left leg, and now the bases are loaded with 1 out for Colby Rasmus.
Apparently it didn't hurt either.
No.
Yeah, I was like you. I thought this ball came off of Sucre immediately. Let's this ball break in. Talk about a back foot slider.
Oh, it's back foot. Okay.
That must have caught the sole of the shoe, because Chris acts like that's nothing. Give me the mosquito spray, please.
Bounced off. Colby Rasmus has a bases loaded opportunity. He's been hitting lefties pretty well this year. He's driven in 17. Rasmus takes it, and it's ball 1 to Colby with a .242 average, and he has 13 doubles. 2 for 6 in this series. He had a double and a walk yesterday. Has 4 doubles in his last 4 games. And a total of 13. And Conger on deck. Breaking pitch misses, and it's 2-0 to Rasmus. Actually, left-handed hitters are hitting a few points higher than right-handed hitters against Elias. 255 to 246.
A little bit of a different number from last year. Elias is first in the major leagues. He was more effective against the lefties.
A year ago, he was 10-12 for Seattle with a 3.85 ERA and 29 starts. Big opportunity for Rasmus to get the Astros on the board first. His last 2 homers have come against lefties.
Likely fastball scenario.
He looks at it. It's a strike. Colby's hitting .250 against southpaws with an OPS of .875. 500 slugging percentage. And he's worked the count to 3-1. A lot of that, I would say, has to do with A.J. Hinch selecting certain left-handers for him to face.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Colby does a really nice job. Look at the front side. He hasn't popped open at all. And tends to provide good at bats against the lefties.
Big 3-1 coming now. Rasmus grounds it, foul. And it's a full count for Colby. This is his first at bat with the bases loaded all season.
It's kind of amazing, and it's also maybe surprising. You get to this point now, 64th game, no grand slams for the club.
Yeah. Well, he has the opportunity to fix that right here. Shot out into right center field. In for a hit. That'll score Springer. And behind him comes Gattis. 2-0 Astros. 2-run single for Rasmus, giving him 19 runs batted in.
Now, I wasn't watching Evan Gattis. But he must have gotten a late break, maybe thinking this ball was catchable in right center field because it took him a while to score. See if we can pick up on things, but Colby Rasmus coming through nicely as he gets that fastball up a bit, maybe off the outside edge, and gaps it beautifully. See Evan Gattis, he's holding and waits till he sees it coming down, and now it means he's got to really dig to be able to get to the plate. George Springer says get down.
This Sunday crowd likes the early action. Now it's Hank Conger batting. Runners at first and second. Conger takes it. There's ball one to Hank.
Well, Brownie, that's immediate dividend for the left-handed bat in the lineup.
Bet it is. Conger's hit 158 right-handed. There you see his overall numbers, including 316 this month. And that's why I think A.J. Hinch has done a fine job of selecting those lefty-on-lefty at-bats for Colby. The player certainly has to come through and deserves all the credit for it. 1-1.
Can't come through without opportunity, and that works out nice for the club.
And the Astros have been losing lately to left-handed starters. Foul back. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Hank Conger.
Yeah, that's a good point, and maybe sometimes you might even want to break up an all right-handed lineup with a left-handed batter too.
They've lost 8 of their last 9 to left-handed starters. Lefty Mike Montgomery pitched a fine game and won for the first time in the majors here yesterday, giving up 1 run in 6 innings.
But you said it, left-hand batters having success against Elias this year.
Up the right field line, a foul ball. 1-2. Well, AJ studies all the numbers, of course. And it's that, but it's also knowing his players.
It's also, yeah, and the implication there is some guys need to play. It's maybe been a while since they've contributed. You want to keep all the guys a part of things and hopefully a part of wins.
There's the breakdown on Elias. Jake Marisnick's on deck. 2 balls, 2 strikes. His command has been a little bit off in this inning. He hit Carter with the 0-2 pitch. He's gone to 3-2 on Rasmus. He had a 4-pitch walk to Springer. So right here out of the gate, Elias is struggling to put the ball where he wants to. Out into center field. Jackson makes the catch. 2 outs. And a lot of pitchers do experience first inning problems for various reasons.
Well, it is the 1 inning of the ball game. Offensively, you set things up the way you want to, and you hope to be able to score offensively. Maybe a combination of things with a hitter or a pitcher rather trying to find his way.
True. Jake Marisnick had 244 with 4 homers, has driven in 18. He hit a homer off Elias here May 1st in the Astros 4-3 win. Good ball 1 as Jake tries to get that batting average turned around.
He could certainly use a big swing.
Oh, for his last 13. He had a marvelous month of April. Shot on the ground, gets by Seager and into left field. Here's Carter coming to the plate. Ackley with a throw, not in time. And it's 3-0. Marisnick winding up at second on the error by Seager, who won the Gold Glove last year.
Well, Jake won't get anything to show for this, but he swung the bat well, hit it sharply, and ultimately produced a run. He gets a pitch to hit too right there. Does what you're supposed to do, hit it sharply and take your chances. And maybe that opens the door for more.
7th error for Seager this year. Carter beat the throw from Ackley. Those 2-out errors are extremely costly. That run scored by Carter is unearned because of it. Any more runs that might score this inning would be unearned. Luis Valbuena, the number 8 hitter, comes up. There's strike one to Valbuena, who leads the club with 13 homers. He's second in the American League among third basemen in home runs. And he's driven in 24 with a 171 average for Valbuena. He is 1 for 7 with a homer in this series. It's 1-1. But only 3 Astros third basemen with 13 homers in the first 63 games of the season for the team. Morgan Ensberg did it twice, and Ken Caminetti did it. One ball, 2 strikes. Astros Friday night sent 12 men to the plate in an 8-run first inning. Won it 10-0. 4 first inning runs allowed in 9 starts by Elias. Not bad at all. Marwin Gonzalez is on deck. Charity event picnic in the park will follow on the field. Astros players and their families and fans will get a chance to gather and raise some money for the Astros in Action Foundation. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And we get to see a lot of the Colorado Rockies. 4 games in a row starting tomorrow night. 2 here and 2 at Coors Field. Back-to-back night day series of 2 games. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Valbuena now.
Not a bad time to catch the Rocks. They've lost 4 straight.
Chad Bettis will pitch for the Rockies tomorrow night. He's from Lubbock and he went to Texas Tech. Probably didn't have to live in the dorms.
No. Live in the clubhouse maybe. I remember some guys doing that back in the day.
There's a shot up the line and hooking. It goes foul. A well hit liner, but just foul from Valbuena.
It has not gone the way Valbuena would have wanted. First 62, 63 games on the season. But when he gets a hold of a pitch, he can slam it well. 179 batting average. Gets a breaking ball here that stays in. And he's got a response.
He came up to the big leagues with Seattle in 08. Roller out to second. Here's Cano with the play to first in time to get Valbuena. And the Astros come up with 3 runs on 2 hits. 1 costly error. 2 men left. 3-0 Houston after 1. Sports is presented by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by Jack in the Box. Try the new Double Jack today only at Jack in the Box. Fans walking the concourse. Many of these restaurants are new from last year. A lot of these folks probably coming out for the first time since the park has been remodeled, especially on the club level. They've seen the Astros take a 3-0 lead. 2 of the runs earned in the first inning. Now the Mariners come up against Lance McCullers Jr. It'll be Nelson Cruz leading it off in the second. He's the American League home run leader with 18, taking strike one. He has a .328 batting average. That's 4th in the AL. And he's driven in 40 with glittering OPS numbers. 1 ball, 1 strike. And for the season, Cruz has taken the Astros pitchers deep 3 times, driving in 7 with a .324 average. And McCullers with the early lead wants to challenge this power hitter. That's some good sinking action there. Looked like the changeup, Ash. 1 and 2.
He's got a good one too. That Vulcan change holds it between the ring finger and the 2 middle fingers on the hand.
Yeah,
he's got a very good one.
Nelson Cruz has been very difficult for a lot of pitchers this season. He has built on his AL home run leading year of last year, trying to go back to back as the home run leader. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Cruz, and he has been terrific when hitting in this ballpark. Those are his numbers overall against the Astros this season. He lights it up at Minute Maid. Cruz calls time. The Seattle club is last in runs scored in the American League with 216. Last in on base average as well. In the dirt with a breaking pitch that takes the count full on Cruz. No leadoff walk. Oh, it hit him. So he is aboard now. Or was that ball 4?
Might have been ball 4.
It was ball 4. I missed the pitch. All right. Well, there's a leadoff walk. This is what a pitcher doesn't want to do.
Yeah, Nelson Cruz apparently feeling frisky enough to say, it's okay, I don't want to go on down there. Give me another pitch.
Okay. He wanted to hit. Kyle Seager is the batter. Seager with 10 homers, 35 runs batted in, sports a .271 batting average, but only 182 against the Astros. Fastball, strike 1. Well, McCullers, you talked about his poise, but mentally maybe kicking himself a little bit for walking the leadoff man after his club just got 3. Done a nice job against the lefty hitters, though. 143, especially with the breaking stuff. He pounds that one, but Seager's not moving on it, and it's 1-1.
It's got to be tough, leadoff or otherwise, facing Nelson Cruz. You don't want to leave one through the heart of the plate at all on that power.
True. A walk is still preferable to a homer, unless some statistical maven has come up with another way of counting that.
Well, I'm sure they have.
It's 2-1.
Well, the last 2 pitches may have been in the strike zone from Lance McCullers. Let's take a peek. This is the final one, the 3rd one, and yeah, all 3 callable pitches. What we've seen is a low strike called today and not the high strike.
That one's hit out toward George Springer in right field, pursuing it all the way to the warning track in front of the Astros bullpen for out number 1.
I don't know about you, but with that power that Kyle Seager has, I thought he got enough of this one to get out.
It looked good off the bat for him.
And I was feeling from McCullers, after having thrown a couple of strikes, not called strikes, that you eventually have to come back in with a fastball, and Seager sitting all over it. And this was right in a great spot for Seager to jump on it. Yeah, that's a power hitter, catching one pretty well.
He did a great job of swinging the bat there, but came up a few feet short of the desired target for him. Now it's Logan Morrison. He went deep twice and drove in 5 against the Astros yesterday. He's been on base his last 18 games at Minute Maid Park with hits. There's ball 1. So Morrison now with 8 homers, 22 runs batted in, a .258 average, has fattened his numbers here this weekend and just continues to hit at Minute Maid Park the way he has been. One and one.
Off speed gets him on the 1-0. That's the classic pitching backwards, and that's, you know, I can't tell if that was the slider, apparently the slider, or breaking ball.
Morrison's now a .347 lifetime hitter in this ballpark. Fouls it away, and it's 1-2.
That might have been a rare two-seamer with some good sink from McCullers.
Left-handed hitters have a .214 slugging percentage against his breaking balls this year. That is unbelievably good. 57% whiff percentage on his breaking stuff for the guys who swing from Morrison's side of the plate. In the dirt, Conger blocks it out front. Byron Buxton is making his major league debut for the Minnesota Twins today. Called up from Double-A. He was the player drafted number 2 overall in 2012, behind Carlos Correa.
Minnesota no doubt looking to be a bit rejuvenated.
It's a shot out to left center field, a long run back. Marisnik at the warning track, and right in front of that big pillar, he makes the play. That one didn't carry as well either.
Nope.
And 2 outs. Just a reminder now, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller time later in today's game. It's brought to you by Miller Lite.
Let's take a peek at that pitch at 90 miles an hour that I was questioning what pitch that was. Lance McCullers. Yeah, we're getting to it. Look at the grip. We've called it a Vulcan change. At least in this case, I would call that kind of the classic, just put it back deep in the hand and use all the fingers kind of a change.
Maybe didn't like Vulcan.
I wonder if he's changed pitching heroes somehow, huh?
Changes. Dustin Ackley taking strike 1.
And that's that pitch again. So he goes about 88 to 90 on that changeup.
Well, if you go 88 to 90,
that's
a changeup.
That tells you got a pretty good fastball.
Some pitchers would like to have a fastball in that neighborhood.
His has settled in about 94, 95 so far.
2 balls and a strike.
Then that breaking ball jumps down to about 84, so got a nice range of velocities on the pitches.
Dustin Ackley was not in the original starting lineup. Mark Trumbo was.
Now, there you see the little bit of a spike job with the first finger as he throws that breaking ball. Well, learning all kinds of things now with that great slow motion video that we have.
2-2. You like Supermo?
Oh, I love it. The guys do such a great job with it.
That one hit the end of the bat.
Yanab. Didn't even try to bluff his way into a hit by pitch.
No, he didn't.
That's pretty amazing.
That's something.
He's supposed to act like he just got busted apart.
And he lays off. It's 3-2 to Ackley. He was a first-round pick in 2009. He was the second player drafted from North Carolina that year. Former second baseman. Mark Trumbo, as we mentioned, had been in the original starting lineup, but was taken out before game time because of back spasms, we were told. 3-2 with 2 outs. Cruz is going. That's a shot out towards Springer's right. Long run for George into right center field, and he gets there on the warning track. There's a center fielder playing right. Springer tracks it down, takes away a gapper. It's no runs, no hits, and a man left. The Astros lead it thanks to Springer. 3-0. They'll be batting here in the bottom of the second inning. It's a fine catch by George Springer there to end the top of the frame. And wouldn't you know it, the guy who made the great plays in the on-deck circle when the next inning begins. Marwin Gonzalez to lead it off. Marwin looks at ball one at 212. He has 2 homers, 13 runs batted in. Another day of rest for Jose Altuve's ailing right hamstring, with Marwin filling in. Jose's feeling a lot better, though, he said. In the air, and it goes to the right fielder. Smith in. 1 down for Elias. See the change in George Springer from last year on the hit chart, Ash?
Yeah, a lot more pulling of the baseball last year. Of course, he was hitting at a higher rate of home runs as well. So you kind of have to decide where you want him to go. But this year, much more back up the middle into right field. And that's what we've been seeing. I mean, he's hit a lot of balls early on in the season up the middle, some very sharply like this one, but second baseman right in position with the shift, now taking advantage as he goes the other way, and that was a healthy swing.
Certainly was. Well, it's his first swing of the day. Took a 4-pitch walk in the first inning and scored a run.
Well, apparently we've got future Mrs. Springers out there.
Yeah. There might be at least about 500 of them in this crowd. No balls, 2 strikes.
Got to pay for advertising. Well, maybe not.
George looks at it. It's a 1-ball, 2-strike count. So the 8 home runs for Springer so far this year have come in 208 at bats. Not the home run rate of last year you talked about, but boy, the on base average much improved for George. And the way he runs, he can score a lot of runs when he gets on. That's strike 3, and Elias gets his first of the day.
Tough pitch down and away. But again, the low pitch has been getting the nod so far today. Let's see if this catches any plate. Now, that's a callable pitch. You know, you can say all you want, you have to expand with 2 strikes, but that pitch that barely catches a bit of that corner at the bottom of the knees is awfully tough.
Here's Correa now. Correa takes, and there's ball 1 to Carlos, who lined to right field in the first inning. There's some excellent reading today about Carlos Correa in the Houston Chronicle. Jesus Ortiz spent some time with him, did a story about his upbringing, his dad working 3 jobs to make sure that he could go to an English language school and become bilingual. When he was in the 3rd or 4th grade, his dad already had 2 jobs, and Carlos seemed to know that he was going to be in this situation someday, and asked his dad if he could move from public school to a private school, and his dad picked up a 3rd job to take care of it.
You know, I think Dad does 4 jobs. I saw a little hitting coach work going on right there. He'll impart that later.
Brad Miller takes care of out number 3, and it's 3-0 Astros after a couple.
As we move to the third, hey, kick off your weekends here at Minute Maid Park with the best fireworks show in town, presented by Marathon Oil Corporation. The next Friday night fireworks is coming up June 26th when the Astros take on the New York Yankees. For more information, go to astros.com/fireworks or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. McCullers ready to go to work here once again, and we're talking to manager A.J. Hinch before the game, guys, and he was talking about this group of young Astros that are coming up and all contributing and playing very well, and how McCullers is sort of exemplary of how they think, how they feel. These are not young players who come up and get all caught up in the moment. He said McCullers is a very even-keel kid. He's not too up when things are going well. He doesn't get down when things don't go his way, and that focus on the big picture and not getting caught up in the emotions of the moment, that's sort of indicative of this group of young players. Correa's the same way. Preston Tucker's the same way. It really helps the team as a whole keep an even keel through stretches, rough stretches like the 7-game losing streak we just saw a few moments ago, or a few games ago. I also wanted to mention to you guys, the Astros have some NCAA Division I Gold Glove winners. Those were announced today. And one, Kevin Biggio, won it, second baseman from Notre Dame. Alex Bregman won it, the shortstop from LSU, as well as Southern California's Garrett Stubbs, the catcher, all drafted by the Houston Astros, guys.
Very good. Thanks, Bart. Now the leadoff walk to Brad Miller on 4 pitches is the second of the game for McCullers. And McCullers has thrown 3 first-pitch strikes to the first 8 batters, so not sporting his usual command that we have seen in his first 5 major league starts. Now he faces Jesus Sucre. Sucre has not had a lot of playing time, and another first pitch, ball 1. So that brings out Conger, and it's a matter of trying to harness what he has today. That fastball looked like he pulled a little bit outside, Ash, so that's what they're working on right now, trying to figure out something with the delivery. Maybe Brent Strom is out.
Also notice that maybe a little more run on the 4-seam fastball to his arm side today than we've seen. At times he'll get right over the top on that thing. It looks like a dart coming into home plate.
Yeah, this is not quite the A material that we have seen from Lance his last couple of starts.
And his A material is Major League A+.
And Sucre is 0 for 3 against the Astros this season. So he is in that unusual position, Ash, of having a career batting average and a career ERA against the Astros that are the same, 0.
That's quality. Yes. Now, if you want to earn your money on the mound, keep that going.
1-1. Well, he pitched in the blowout game, 1 scoreless inning Friday night to save the bullpen for Lloyd McClendon. It's 2-1.
That front side appears to be flying open a bit on the slider and maybe on the fastball as well, and that can create that running action that I was talking about.
McCullers had the complete game win here over Baltimore June 3rd. Throws a strike there. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He had no walks and 11 strikeouts in that game. Last time out he lost 3-1 to the White Sox, giving up 3 runs in 7 innings. Didn't walk anybody in that game. Struck out 7, so he had not walked anybody in his last 16 innings. And Sucre has worked the count full.
Oh, and a slider breaking that way, that would seem to likely catch some corner going by the plate. I see a couple of seams on the plate.
Okay.
Boy, it's not a pitch you want to take.
Popped up. Valbuena over in front of the Seattle bench. 1 out.
Good out to get, nonetheless, though, after walking the leadoff man.
Coming into this game, McCullers had 36 strikeouts in his first 5 career games. That tied him with Tom Griffin in 1969 for the most ever by an Astros pitcher in his first 5 career games. Seth Smith opened the game with a strikeout looking.
There's that running fastball. It's just leaving his arm and going to the right.
Marisnick well over into left center field for Smith. In for a strike. That makes it 1-1. Detroit leads at home against Cleveland 2-0. They're in a rain delay in the bottom of the 5th inning now. Alfredo Simon going for Detroit against Corey Kluber. Strike makes it 1-2. Miguel Cabrera hit his 14th home run off Kluber. Colorado's up on Miami 3-0 in the bottom of the 6th at Miami. Rockies will be heading here after that game. Marwin Gonzalez throws to second. Carlos Correa guns to first. Wow! 2 long throws and a 4-6-3 spectacular double play. That is something with those 2 long throws required to get the 2 outs. And here's another look at it.
(14th, 1966). 19-year-old Hollywood, California native Larry Dierker throws a 5-hit shutout as the Astros beat Dodger legend and Hall of Famer Sandy Koufax 3-0. That can't happen other than Larry Dierker. Dirk went on to compile 8 complete games, an ERA of 3.18. In his second big league season, he was some kind of something, as Larry Dierker is known to say on occasions.
Number 49 among the retired numbers here. The Astros lead 3-0. Here's Evan Gattis. Broken bat looper over first base up the right field line. There's a hit for Gattis. He's 2 for 2. Picked up by Smith. He holds him to a single. And Gattis, with his first hit coming to left field, took this one the other way and broke the bat in the process.
For every future frustrating moment that certainly will come along, remember that swing right there, Evan. Right off the end of the bat. Which way do I want to go? I see the barrel going that way and the ball. Yeah, those are nice to get.
Hit number 3 for the Astros. Chris Carter's the batter. He was hit by an 0-2 pitch on the right foot. Ball 1 to Carter. In that Rockies game, Colorado got 3 in the top of the first at Miami and is leading 3-0 in the 7th inning now. De La Rosa with a shutout going against Dan Herron. High to left center field. Austin Jackson. Gattis is tagging at first. Here's Jackson with the catch, throwing into second. Gattis coming into second, and he beats the throw. Very fine base running on a long out number 1.
Yeah, it's a really good job by a guy that you don't think of as a base running expert. Evan Gattis does a fine job.
He immediately went back to the bag.
Carter hits a lot of this baseball. We've seen some balls hit well here today that aren't getting out of the yard. I don't know what is going on, but might be a pitcher's ballpark this afternoon. Here's the base thief, Mr. Gaddis.
Must be colder in here today. Colby Rasmus with ball one. He had a 2-run single to right center field.
Everybody is going to have their theory. How about humidity? And it's the humidor, Brownie.
I think it's the approaching tropical storm.
Yeah, we've no doubt had a few of those.
It's hundreds of miles away, but nevertheless. 2 balls, no strikes. People have their eyes on it. But yeah, the ball doesn't seem to be carrying as well for whatever reason today.
I think Kyle Seager would agree. Thought he hit a ball pretty well out to right center.
And Conger on deck as Rasmus bats against Elias. It's 2-1. Tomorrow night it's Tulo and Cargo and that Colorado Rocky crew.
You are so hip, you know that?
Well, you know what? It's going to be a nice week to see the Astros meet the Rockies. Brings back some old memories for you, right? You get to go to Coors Field.
Yeah. Ooh.
3-1. You like Coors Field?
It's a beautiful place. And it's got a nice, a lovely purple stripe around the upper deck that shows you the actual mile-high portion of the stadium.
Well, maybe you and Blummer should go up there.
Let's see. It's such a comfy seat there in the booth, though.
Yeah. Right. 3-2. Guess who homered today for the Rocks?
Tell me.
Nolan Arenado, number 16.
Fine third baseman he is.
Gosh. For all the talk about Tulo and Cargo, who have both been there for years, Arenado's the guy many people really want to see right now on that Rocky team.
Cargo now gets sent on a ship, right? And shipments get sent by car.
True.
And
way outside, Rasmus takes a walk.
Let's take a look at that double play we saw that the Astros turned to end the top of the third inning. Over the top from Carlos Correa as he just does get Seth Smith. That was quite a double play, and I thought Marwin did a great job even going to second to get the lead out.
Right.
Let alone coming up with a double play.
Exactly. And Conger hit a fly ball to center in the first inning. Jake Marisnick's on deck. In the dirt, ball one. A couple of pitchers are missing from this current Seattle rotation because they're on the disabled list. Hisashi Iwakuma and James Paxton. Pitching coach Rick Waits is coming out.
Yeah, I would say if Seattle is going to contend for real this year, they need Iwakuma back and pitching well in that rotation. And I think Rick Waits might concur.
Talking to a young man who has a major league record of 25-19 with a 3.76 ERA over 5 seasons.
Imagine the message was something like, if you don't throw strikes, you're not going to give yourself or your teammates a chance.
Yeah. Elias in his last 3 road starts is 3-0 with a 1.37 ERA. He's had quality starts in 7 of his 9 trips to the mound. Ground ball goes foul. 1-1.
You know something about Rick Waits, who we just saw out there at the mound, the pitching coach? I played with him with the Indians way back when. And I don't recall if it was then or slightly after I had left the Indians, but he sang the national anthem. He's a very fine singer.
Didn't know that.
At the ballpark.
Foul back, 1-2. That's a rarity. Sucre out to talk. How many other players can you remember have sung the anthem.
I don't remember anybody else. I'm sure there have been some pining to do so, but Rick Waits pulled it off, and apparently quite well.
Elias did not make the Mariners club out of spring training. He started out in AAA Tacoma this year. First Mariners start was April 26th. To right field, Seth Smith in for the catch, throwing to first. Not in time for a double play. Rasmus got back. 2 outs.
Yeah, it's a goofy game. I don't know if Evan Gattis was with that cocked head trying to figure it out, but you hit a ball like this for an out, and then you can blow up your bat like Gattis did, get yourself a knock. You just kind of have to lay low in the weeds and let it all come your way.
Jake Marisnick's the batter. He hit the ground ball under Seager's glove for an error. There's ball 1. Twins got a run in the first at Texas to take an early 1-0 lead on the Rangers. It was a leadoff homer by Brian Dozier, his 13th of the year. It came off Nick Martinez. Out to right center field. This could shoot the gap for Marisnick. Extra bases for Jake. It bounces over into the bullpen, and that's an RBI double. 4-0. Marisnick with his 8th double picks up unbatted in number 19.
The Mariners caught a break on that ball with that ball kicking up over the wall, because Colby Rasmus, who could scoot, was going to score for certain on this ball. Jake needed this, and the Astros certainly could use it. Nice job by Jake. Got a pitch up out over the plate.
That could go a long way for him. It's his 3rd RBI this month. And now Valbuena takes ball 1. Valbuena grounded out to end the Astros' first inning. They sent 8 men to the plate. And he had runners at 2nd and 3rd, as he does now. As a team, the Astros have hit .224 with runners in scoring position. Marwin Gonzalez waits to hit next. It's 2-0 to Valbuena. Mariners starting pitching is good. 3rd best ERA in the American League, despite the 2 injuries we talked about.
I don't know how many Rick Waits fans we have, but I just kind of looked it up. Apparently a number of times Rick Waits sang the national anthem.
1978 he did it with the Cleveland Indians. Is that when you were there?
Little after I left, and that was what I kind of supposed, because I don't have a recollection of seeing him do it, but I'd heard a number of tales, and apparently it says where I'm reading, number of times to wild applause. Rick Waits, great teammate. He was a fine left-handed pitcher as well.
Do you think he was more nervous for singing the anthem than for pitching?
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Kind of going out of your realm.
Right.
He was known as the Yankee Killer for the Indians for a while.
Valbuena takes the 3rd walk of the day for Elias. He's also a hit a batter. That loads the bases for Marwin Gonzalez now. Marwin hit a fly ball to right in the 2nd inning. How many other Yankee killers can you think of down through the years?
Imagine a lot of guys had that label, but not a bad one to have if you're a Cleveland Indian at that time. The Yankees dominated the tribe.
Frank Larry of Detroit was known as a Yankee killer back in the probably 60s.
Is he a pitcher?
Yeah, he's a right-handed pitcher with the Tigers. But you're right, there were several who were called Yankee killers. Strike to Marwin. And a lot of times they were left-handers who would come into Yankee Stadium and pitch a fine game.
Told Manny Ramirez had 7 multi-home run games against the Yankees. He might have been a Yankee killer.
He could have been a Yankee killer.
Those Indian fans, you can find them everywhere.
You can. 1-1.
Not at all times, but give yourself enough time, you'll find one everywhere.
Okay. How about Don Mossy? Could he have been a Yankee killer?
Not with the bat. He was legendarily bad with the bat. You know what? I'm actually thinking of Hank Aguirre. You're taking me back to old baseball card days.
Hank Aguirre.
Yeah.
You're getting into some of the worst hitting pitchers of all time when you talk about Hank Aguirre. Bob Buell.
Was he a real bad one?
Bob Buell was a terrible hitter. Fred Gladding.
Shame on you for saying that about Fred.
Well, sorry, but the facts speak loudly.
Well, I played with a few myself.
There's a shot foul on the ground. It's 2-2 to Marwin Gonzalez. Who was the worst hitting pitcher you can remember?
Now that's really tough. I would probably point to bullpen teammates because they just don't get that chance.
No.
And they'll get one rare at bat with 2 or 3 runners on base when you need it, and they have to swing the stick, and it's just embarrassing. And then they'll tell you what great hitters they were in high school and college.
Bill Hands of the Cubs was pretty bad. Three and 2 now.
Then you'll get that teammate pitcher who is right-handed, for example, and will swing the bat left-handed for no unknown reason to man or teammate or pitching coach, for example, and it'll be just hideous. You'll say, why don't you swing it from the other side, give it a chance? Oh no, I'm a left-hand hitter. No, you're not.
Big 3-2 pitch with 2 outs and the bases loaded. Ball 4 forces in run number 5, and it's 5-0 on the bases loaded walk to Marwin Gonzalez. That's the 4th walk for Elias. Gonzalez getting his 14th run batted in.
Well, keep piling on, guys.
Rasmus scores. Marisnik to third. Valbuena to second. Walks have been a big part of this inning. There have been 3 of them.
Certainly providing enough time for Lance McCullers to maybe rethink things this afternoon.
What a good thought. The 8th man to bat in the inning, George Springer, has walked and scored, and he has struck out looking. There's a wild one going on in New York. Mets 10, Atlanta 8 in the bottom of the 6th. Springer looks at ball 1. The Astros have scored 51 runs in 9 games against Seattle coming into this one. Danny Farquhar is warming up for the Mariners. They might need to bring Sucre out from behind the plate. Pitch him again in this game later on.
Well, the uprising.
2 balls, no strikes.
Pretty good looking pitch right there.
Well, Elias has been putting up good start after good start, so this one is out of the norm for him.
Maybe he can go sit by the king after the inning.
Shot on the ground is Seager going to second for the force, and the Astros tack on 2 runs on 2 hits. They leave the bases loaded after 3. They're up 5-0.
Father's Day early by bringing Dad to the ballpark tomorrow and Tuesday with the Astros special Father's Day ticket promotion. Select seats will be offered at a reduced rate of $20 per ticket. For more information, visit Astros.com/Father's Day or call 1-877-9-ASTROS.
Austin Jackson looks at strike one. The Astros lead at 5-0 as the fourth inning gets underway. He grounded out in the first. And Lance McCullers, who's found strike one to be elusive so far through the first three, nonetheless has not given up a hit. He's walked two. Got a double play ball in the third inning. It's a 2-ball, 1-strike count.
I bet this is the most frustrating no-hit bid early in a ball game that a guy can go through.
Yeah. Foul back. 2-2. There have been some no-hitters with a lot of walks, haven't there?
You know, I was just thinking of a big right-hander now back with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Pitched with Philadelphia last year, formerly with the Blue Jays, and I can't come up with his name, who had, I believe, a 6-walk no-hitter while with the Marlins. So he's pitched everywhere in sight.
A.J. Burnett?
A.J. Burnett.
Yep.
There you go.
Jackson takes a leadoff walk. That's the third of those for McCullers.
Well, after that close pitch not called a strike, our pitch-by-pitch presented by Steel Dealers. Back in the first inning with Robinson Cano at the plate, a couple of heaters get away. And we've seen a lot of those already, and then a strike on the inside corner at the knees. The yacker gets thrown in there and then just blow the cheese on by. Lance McCullers can do that. Just tremendous stuff.
Robbie Cano struck out in the first inning. There's strike one for McCullers. Just reading the excellent Sports Illustrated article about Johan Santana's no-hitter for the Mets a few years ago, and how agonizing that was for the skipper Terry Collins.
Pitch count,
and the fact that the Mets had never had a no-hitter pitched in their entire history, and here was a guy out there for over 130 pitches, and he had been injured.
The weight of the franchise suddenly was in place, huh?
Terry Collins said it was his worst night in baseball, even though Santana did pitch a no-hitter. It was just a matter of, you know, I'd like to get him out of this game. He may get injured. We don't want him to throw this many pitches, but we need to have a no-hitter.
It's a bit of a different story, but kind of the same when you're a catcher in a no-hitter and you get in those last couple of innings and you're looking at who's coming up for the other team, and you're running through your mind how you want to set them up and how everything should go. You can really overthink it.
Strikeout number 3 there as Cano is caught looking. Yeah, that can be quite a burden for the manager.
You know, I said overthink. It's just that 30 minutes of your life or more that is such a grind. And a great relief and joy when it's all over and you get it.
Nelson Cruz drew a walk to lead off the second inning. So McCullers has walked the leadoff man in each of the last 3 innings now. There's strike one. And yet he got that big double play in the third.
Of course, the deal changes when you've got a Nolan Ryan, like there are others in this world, on the hill. And after about 1 inning and you realize, well, he's got it today. And you start grinding early on.
1-1. And the Sports Illustrated article pointed out what a fluky thing a no-hitter can be at times.
7 genuine flukes for Nolan Ryan.
1-2. And it also reiterated the fact that Tom Seaver did not pitch a no-hitter with the Mets, but then shortly after being traded to Cincinnati, he had one for the Reds. And so, you know, despite a powerful strikeout game, Seaver struck out 16 one game. There might be a bad bounce in there, and it leads to he had a few one-hitters with the Mets, so that can certainly be the case. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Now I'm thinking back on Roger Clemens.
He did not have.
Did not have a no-hitter.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. It could be such a fluky thing. And yet, if a pitcher has one, it'll never be forgotten with that. Now, Cruz is rung up, and much to his dismay here, Paul Nauert has called strike 3 on him.
Fastball trying to find the outside edge. Let's take our peek. And Nelson Cruz has good reason to be a little upset. That's the way you want to spot him now, is maybe McCullers is finding things.
Kyle Seager comes up. He hit that ball you talked about, Ash. Hit it well to right center field in the second inning. Just didn't seem to have much carry to it. He smacks that one foul for strike 1.
Now, if you're starting to play that game in your head about Lance McCullers, who has not yielded a hit, 2 outs here in the 4th inning, still a long ways to go, but already it's 70 pitches, so that becomes a grind if it gets to that point for A.J. Hinch.
That would be a big problem for A.J. On the one hand, on the other, why? It just, you get to a certain pitch figure and that's it. Doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, you're protecting an arm that could be an enormous asset for your organization for years to come.
Yeah, that would be the overriding factor, his future. And that's more important than a no-hitter.
Not for tonight's celebration causes or purposes.
Well, also with the score being 5-0, not that the game is over, but that has to enter into it.
Big part.
Correa to his left. Makes the short toss over to Carter. 4 no-hit innings for Lance McCullers Jr. and a 5-0 lead. Methodist helps us get to know Carlos Correa. We've had just a few days to see him as a major leaguer. Favorite player growing up, Derek Jeter. Favorite movie, Gladiator. Favorite subject in school, math.
I guess you might expect that. The math portion, Gladiator. He's probably going to style his game after Gladiator for some time. He's an impressive young man.
He's 0 for 2 in this game. A liner to right, a grounder to short. Here's strike 1. Jesus Ortiz tells the story, writing about Carlos, who has a lot of fans here from Puerto Rico. After the debut he made at U.S. Cellular in Chicago, waiting for some taxis to go back to the hotel with his family. And he waited about an hour, as it turned out. He had a long conversation with his younger sister. Line drive to left field. Hit that one mostly with his left hand, and he's on with a leadoff single here in the 4th inning, much to their delight.
I saw Dad in the previous at bat talking about how maybe the back shoulder had dipped a little bit, telling Mom what exactly is going on. But that's really staying with an off-speed delivery down out of the strike zone. Look how well he stays with it. Right shoulder and head down on the baseball.
Quite a job on a low pitch, and they love it.
They'll even applaud singles.
Ball one to Evan Gattis, moves him back off the plate. He has singled twice and scored twice in this game. In that number 3 spot in the lineup, which has not been productive for the Astros as a club this year, and they've tried a lot of different number 3 hitters. Fouled, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Correa has been a good base stealer this season in the minor leagues. He's 1 for 1 as a major leaguer.
Carlos Correa also steals bases, had 18 in the minor leagues this year. And so 5-0. I don't know if that becomes an issue for Carlos, but yeah, it's going to be intriguing to see how his running game stacks up.
Well, when you were managing, did you shut down the running game if you had a 5-0 lead in the 4th inning?
No, that's too early for me.
Agreed.
I had a conversation with Buddy Bell, who a longtime manager in the major leagues, and he had an experience with the Colorado Rockies, and such a different scenario there playing at Coors Field where teams could really come back. And his experience included angry opposing managers who thought at a certain point, okay, you're not supposed to try to rub it in on us. I don't buy into any of that at all, but yeah, you get certain people in this game who believe this unwritten set of alleged rules apply, and you don't run, and so it's kind of tough to figure out when that comes along.
Well, let's say you're managing a club without a lot of power, but a lot of stolen bases are part of your game. So the other clubs hit maybe twice as many homers. You're supposed to quit trying to steal. Are they going to quit trying to hit homers?
Yeah, and I say to you, why is that? Where did that come about in this game, this gentlemanly sport that we don't rub it into the other guys? I think you should continue to play baseball and try to win.
Nothing wrong with that.
You know what really gets crazy is you'll be the team leading 9-0 in the 8th, 9th innings. You'll put your first baseman all the way back behind an opposing runner, and he's not supposed to score by or run by a lot of people's reckoning.
Gattis gets his 3rd straight hit in this game. Nice line drive to single. He's hit one to left, one to right, now to center for Evan Gattis.
That 3 spot is a real strength for the Astros this year. Second time today, Evan just takes a pitch out of the strike zone, hits it on the end of the bat, and dunks it into center field. He's gone left, right, and center. And so just stay hot, young man.
He's using the last 5 inches of that bat
effectively. Don't change a thing.
6 hits for the Astros. 2 men on, nobody out for Chris Carter. Carter was hit by a pitch and hit a warning track fly ball to left center. In the dirt for ball 1. Well, as Ash mentioned earlier, you can bring Dad to the ballpark tomorrow night and Tuesday. Day game Tuesday with that special Father's Day ticket promotion. Selected seats offered at a reduced rate of $20 per ticket with a 2-ticket minimum purchase. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Astros meeting the Rockies the next 2 games, and then it's on to Colorado on the first leg of a 3-city road trip for the Astros. Foul ball makes it 1-2. The Astros are 20-14 at Minute Maid Park. The crowds this weekend have been really outstanding. Friday night, 32,173. Yesterday, 36,762. Danny Farquhar is warming up for Seattle now. Nice crowd on this Sunday afternoon as well. Foul back. So the Astros within the division here this weekend. Then we'll step aside for those 4 games in interleague play against the Rockies. Back within the AL West next weekend at Seattle for 3. And after that to Anaheim against the Angels for 3. They'll return June 25th to play the Yankees in a 4-game set and Kansas City in a 3-game set. Those should be well attended games. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Both clubs are outstanding. Yankees, Kansas City, the Astros in first place for just about the last 2 months. They went into first April 19th.
Can you promote the Kansas City Royals as the American League All-Star starter squad?
Oh, that's getting serious, isn't it? Omar Infante is hitting about 204 right now, and he's right behind Jose Altuve at second base in the balloting. Foul ball. Sucre comes limping out of there.
Look at how much blue you see with Kansas City leading in the voting. Pretty amazing. Mike Trout. You know what? It says a lot about Jose Altuve and how many people now are on his bandwagon, if you will, and they certainly should be there. But Mike Trout and Jose Altuve, the only players breaking into the Royals. Salvador Perez, your leading vote getter in the American League,
is having a very good year. Altuve hopes to return to the lineup very soon. We'll see, maybe tomorrow night. Day-to-day situation with the right hamstring. But Omar Infante, if he wins that balloting, if he is the starting second baseman, the commissioner needs to step in and do something about that.
Insanity, I tell you.
Boy. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Has not been a sharp day for Mr. Elias. Obi Rasmus had a very big swing early on.
Elias started the day with an ERA of 2.79 for 9 starts. He punches out Carter. Bart.
Yeah, Brownie, following up on what you were just discussing, Jose Altuve does continue to lead the second base All-Star voting, but it's getting to be a tight race. He needs your help to make sure he's the All-Star game starter for the American League. So make Houston proud and vote Altuve now at astros.com/vote. Guys, back to you.
All right, kids, school is out. That's your homework. There's the All-Star ballot.
House Hill made the ballot this year, huh?
Check out Infante's numbers.
You know, Altuve hasn't been hot recently, but even in his struggles hitting .290, he's played a great second base. He's hit with some pop this year, leads the league in stolen bases. Come on.
Colby Rasmus had a 2-run single and a walk. There's ball 1. We're not trying to embarrass Omar Infante, but it's just what the voters are doing. It's not his fault. So here you have the reigning batting champion in the American League, and his lead over the number 2 vote getter Infante is not very large. In for a strike, and it's 1-1. Five, 6, and 0 for Houston. 0-0-1 for Seattle. In the home 4th. One ball, 2 strikes. If the Mariners lose this game, they go to 28 and 35. They fall 7.5 behind the Astros. Mr. Altuve keeping himself occupied by stacking cups.
And apparently he's been told to restack things.
He can't just sit there and do nothing. Right?
You got to have those stacks dead even.
This one gets by Sucre, and the runners will move up. And now runners at second and third and 1 out with a 2-2 count on Rasmus. Correa gets to third, Gaddis to second.
Yeah, tack some more runs on, make it party time the rest of the afternoon.
Should be a pass ball, Ash.
No question about it. Very casual catching, certainly on that pitch.
Now that changes things because the infield now comes in all the way. Conger's on deck. To shallow left field, and that will be in for a hit. 6-0 Astros. Correa scoring on the RBI single for Rasmus, his third RBI of the day.
Take advantage of everything you can. On the other side, Seattle players are saying, you see this slop they're flipping around here today? And yet that's the way the game goes. Out on the hands, and Colby manages to just fight it off into left field. You know what? The pass ball set up this base hit and the run.
Yes, it did. Infield came in. Miller couldn't get back to catch it. The run scores. And the Astros lead grows to 6-0. Lloyd McClendon will make a pitching change and will return in a moment. Brings in Danny Farquhar, the right-hander, after Elias went the first 3 1/3.
Danny Farquhar, last time out, went against the Baltimore Orioles. Or rather, let's go against the Astros here in the series. A couple of innings of scoreless baseball. Did walk a pair while striking out 2.
Inherits runners at the corners and 1 out. Hank Conger the batter. Conger is 0 for 2. Conger puts it in the air behind the plate, and this is back out of play for Sucre for strike 1. Hank Conger is in his first year as the Baseball Tomorrow Fund player ambassador. He got a check. Ceremonial check for $5,000 to Oaks Dad's Club of Houston for the purchase of new equipment today during a pregame ceremony. No balls, 2 strikes. Major League Baseball's involved in increasing youth participation in the sport and has teamed up with the Baseball Tomorrow Fund to provide that equipment for some youngsters.
That last swing, a good one at a fastball. However, a changeup was thrown.
Farquhar's fastballs usually around 93, changeup around 84 or so. So there's a good enough difference there to cause a swing and a miss. Still no balls, 2 strikes. Texas Rangers continue to be a surprise team. They're tied 2-2 after 2 with Minnesota. Conger takes a look at it. It's 1-2 to Hank. You expect the Rangers to be in the hunt this year, Ash?
It's getting that way. I mean, Prince Fielder's done a great job, but we've got some other guys contributing, some good young pitching. Nick Martinez has been among the leaders throughout the entire season.
Sure has. In the dirt, 2-2. Yeah, that's been the surprise for a lot of people. Their pitching staff doing so well with the injuries to Yu Darvish and Holland. Derek Holland could be coming back in late July, I believe.
So they could have a little addition by health right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're a good-looking ball club right now. You feel the same way on them?
Yeah. Line shot left field corner, in for a hit, a run-producing hit. Gaddis scores, and here's the go-ahead for Rasmus to come in. Miller with a relay to the plate, not in time. It's a 2-run double for Conger. 8-0 Astros. Conger gets double number 4. That gives him 7 runs batted in.
Yeah, this is the kind of day you want to have as a team. Hank Conger gets that start on the afternoon game and takes advantage with the bases juiced. Take a look at Colby Rasmus bringing it. Nice job.
Well, you saw Gary Pettis, the third base coach, try to get that angle and look deep into the left field corner, which is where that ball was. Now Jake Marisnick with ball 1. Looked as if Conger did get that fastball he was looking for earlier in the at-bat, and he hammered it. 8 runs on 8 hits for the Astros. It's 2-0, and they've all been charged to Elias, although not all will be earned. 7 are earned. He walked 4 and fanned 2. Crazy weekend, one-sided game type of series, right?
Back and forth.
Boy,
it's good when you're the home team on that kind of a scenario.
Yeah, that's true. 10-0 Houston Friday night. 8-1 Seattle Saturday. Now 8-0 Houston in the 4th inning on Sunday. These two teams played 3 really close games here in late April, early May. 3 of them decided by 1 run. 1 of them an extra inning game. 3 balls and a strike to Marisnick. Valbuena's on deck. In the air, and that'll stay up there for a while. Ackley comes in. 2 down. Valbuena will bat. He's grounded out and he's walked.
You start wondering, is this ballpark going to be the scene of some postseason play this year?
What do you think?
I've said it a couple of times already. I really like where the Astros are with their roster right now, and I give them a genuine shot.
There's ball 1 to Valbuena. He's grounded out and he's walked.
Big fan of the young talent that has come along and been added to this team.
Hit well to right field. Valbuena drops the bat. He watches it fly. That's a 2-run shot. Number 14 for Valbuena. And the Major League leading home run team, the Astros, have 84 long balls. That's 26 runs batted in for Valbuena. 10-0 Houston.
Yeah, there's no reason for any spillover of frustration right now, but I certainly hope this doesn't turn into Seattle deciding maybe they need to come in hard on some hitters. This guy has been feast or famine a bit, and the feasts have been really nice.
Well, he's eating pork tenderloin right now.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
It's well cooked. I don't want to say well done, but cooked to perfection.
Well, Mr. Farquhar came into his kitchen.
Well, that's a good point.
And got burned.
You get in the kitchen, and sometimes chef takes over.
2 balls, no strikes to Marwin Gonzalez. He drew a bases loaded walk in the 3rd.
May have gotten to that stage of the game where that fastball 3-4 inches off the corner becomes a strike.
Yeah. 14 long balls already for Valbuena. That's a high drive. Looks like a foul ball up the right field line. Smith is over, and it is back out of play. So if you're just joining us, how did it get to be 10-0? Here's the way it's added up. Evan Gattis with 3 singles. Just 1 homer for the Astros in this game. It just happened from Valbuena's bat. There's the distribution of hits.
The big one for me is the Colby Rasmus first inning double that played at a pair. That kick-started things.
Still 2-2 to Marwin. Yeah, Colby came up in that bases loaded situation, drove in a couple, and then another run scored on an error in the 3-run first for Houston.
It was only 3-0 when Jake Marisnick doubled to right center, plating a run. And 3-0 still felt like Mariners right in the ballgame. 4-0 starts separating.
Every Astros hitter has reached base in this game, either with a walk or a hit. It's the 4th inning. The picnic might have to wait. Foul back, 2-2.
Well, hopefully the food doesn't get cold at all. Yeah, you know, the shot there of Carlos Correa, though, is for me part of that injection of talent the Astros have picked up that have taken them from a team that really played well to a team that has a chance to legitimately play well the rest of the way.
3-2. What do you like to take on a picnic?
Oh, goodness. You know what? A good cheeseburger always works, although I can handle hot dogs. You?
Cold chicken.
Cold chicken. Don't even need to warm it up. Huh?
Nope.
Watermelon involved?
Oh, always.
Make my cheeseburger really greasy, too. Right there. What's he thinking? Come on, guys. I appreciate the runs, but let's get back to business.
Yeah, the Chateaubriand might taste well in a few hours, but he's had a delay here, which is the double-edged sword for a pitcher. He'd love the run support, but not the inactivity, right?
You know, he's probably thinking a little beyond the veil right now.
Bouncer to Logan Morrison. And 8 Astros parade to the plate in the 4th inning. 5 of them score on 5 hits, including the Valbuena long ball to make it 10-0.
to the 5th. We have a couple of special guests as our progressive fans of the game today. Tim Leif and Brian O'Connor. They are in the midst of is it 30 ballparks in 30 days?
That is correct. For our 30th birthdays.
For your 30th birthdays. Wow, what a way to celebrate. So I got to get your take on Minute Maid Park. What do you think?
It's gorgeous. So when this opens, does the whole glass thing go away?
No.
Okay then.
The roof opens.
Okay. Well, it's just a gorgeous park. It's been great. I know it was raining as we came in, so it was really nice to kind of duck in here when we're in the AC. We got to see the train. Beautiful.
Yeah, you like the train. That's a nice feature.
Yeah, it is. There's been so many different cool things about the park, both outside and inside. That's really been a joy for us to see.
What's the most challenging thing about going 30 parks in 30 days?
Definitely the travel schedule. We've had some really tight turnarounds. As a matter of fact, we were in Tampa Bay to see the Rays yesterday, so we had a 16-hour drive to get here. We only had 19 hours to do it. So that was definitely one of the tougher ones.
So clearly you guys are big baseball fans, right?
We are huge baseball fans, yes. Excuse the bags under our eyes, because in that drive, we just slept in the car while the other person was driving.
Well, it's great to have you at Minute Maid. Apparently, you guys are the good luck charm because they're really scoring the runs today. They may ask you to come back for that little mini-series against Colorado, but you got somewhere to go, don't you?
Yeah, we might have somewhere else to go.
What's next on your list?
We're going to the Rangers tomorrow.
Rangers tomorrow. Okay, well, if you want to bring them a little bad luck, that would help us.
All right. No, we'll try.
That's Brian and Tim. They are 30 ballparks in 30 days. Great to have you guys at Minute Maid. Brownie, back to you.
Thank you, Bart. Now Ackley with a fly ball, and down the left field line, Colby Rasmus watches that one go foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The Astros have all 9 hits in this game. And she's happy that one went into foul territory.
That'd be a real challenge putting together that schedule for all those games. You got to hit teams at home and try to make it work. Atlanta and then the Florida ball clubs.
It would take an engineer to put that schedule together.
Yeah, certainly not in my hands. You wouldn't want to put it.
Another foul ball into that same area. What were the blue shirts those folks are wearing? Any idea? Looks like a group outing with the blue shirts.
Blue Jays left town a couple of weeks ago. Maybe they're just simply tardy.
Yeah, they may not have consulted the schedule when coming to see the Blue Jays, and they came to see the Mariners.
30 ballparks in 103 days.
2 balls and 2 strikes. In the air to left center field, Marisnik is going for it. Rasmus moving back. Rasmus is there. It's getting interesting, Ash.
Yes, it is. We're 2 outs in the 5th inning. But you know, we're both. I mean, assuming this continues to move along, and we're talking about the fact that the Mariners don't have any hits, it's not in the cards, I don't think.
80 pitches. There would have to be some really quick innings.
Yep. Has he allowed himself the thought about things?
He has to know. Brad Miller with strike 1.
Well, he will be among the 30,000 or maybe the 130,000 that says he was at the ballpark that day.
Max Scherzer has a no-hitter through 5 today for the Washington Nationals. And they're leading 2-0 at Milwaukee. One ball, 1 strike to Miller.
I wonder if A.J. Hinch is thinking about it.
That's probably not a delightful thought for him right now, the way things are going. 1-2. Certainly with the excellence that could be achieved by McCullers, that's a terrific part of it. But with the idea of overextending him, McCullers threw 107 pitches last time, or here at home anyway, against Baltimore. 2-2.
Sometimes you need a little help from your friends too on pitches.
Yeah, that doesn't hurt one bit. 96 pitches last time out for Lance in Chicago against the Sox. Miller takes a walk. That's number 4. And it's Sucre batting. McCullers just a part of the outstanding rookie class to come to the major leagues this year. Players like Addison Russell of the Cubs, Carlos Correa with the Astros, of course, and Vincent Velasquez, Chris Bryant with the Cubs, Noah Syndergaard Mets, Archie Bradley D-backs, Joey Gallo Rangers. It's a vintage crop. Chichi Gonzalez Rangers, Carlos Rodon White Sox, and so on down the line.
You know what? With some of those mentions of the Texas Rangers and their young talent, to me, that's a big reason why they've moved forward at such a huge stride.
Good point. Wow. 2-1 to Sucre.
Am I begging? Yeah, I'm begging.
Ground ball, Correa to his right. On to Carter to end the top of the 5th inning, and the Mariners have no runs, no hits, and 1 error today. 10-0 Astros after 4.5.
To the 1987 debut of Ken Caminiti, who went 2 for 3 with a dinger, triple, RBI, couple of runs scored. Caminiti, Glenn Davis, and Carlos Correa are the only 3 players in Astros history to have 2 home runs over their first 4 games in the major leagues. By the way, Ken Caminiti was so impressive that night, and he continued to impress over a great career. There you go. There's your list. Notable Astro call-ups over the past couple of years. Boy, when George Springer showed up a year ago, it was all about him. And now Carlos Correa, John Singleton trying to make his way back to the ball club. But yeah, some impressive stuff.
Now Mark Lowe will be pitcher number 3 today for Seattle. The Astros lead at 10-0 as they come up in the 5th inning. George Springer ready to bat against the right-hander Lowe, who's 32 years old. And he's been in 16 games with a fine ERA, 0.51. Fort Bend Christian Academy for Houston-born Mark Lowe. Went to UT Arlington. There's a shot into right center field by Springer. He continues to spray the ball around the park. That's a 7-game hitting streak now for Springer. He's 1 for 3 with a walk.
Solid. That was a gorgeous advantage. Seth Smith, as he went to get this ball in the gap in right center field, had the notion that Springer might go for 2, and pretty wise getting over there quickly. George Springer really turning into that well, not even spray hitter, the guy that goes hard to right field and center.
Yeah, he rammed it to the right of second base. He's done that much better this year. Carlos Correa singled and started the 5-run 4th inning rally. He's 1 for 3. In the dirt, ball 1. That's 10 runs on 10 hits for the Astros now. They've left 5. For the Mariners, no runs, no hits, 1 error. They have stranded 3. Danny Farquhar at 2/3 of an inning allowed 2 hits, 2 runs with no walks, no strikeouts. Off the end of the bat, it's popped up. Logan Morrison in foul ground. 1 down. Joey Gallo has come up with the injury to Adrian Beltre to the big leagues, and he has done a nice job for the Rangers, hitting .306 with 3 homers, Ash.
Upper tank homer for that first one in Arlington, and that kind of got it started. I believe he has 3 already. He's got a hit today, hitting .316. Got that kind of classic uppercut swing from the left side. He's really been dealing. I guess they don't need Adrian Beltre anymore.
Oh, they'll take him.
I think so.
Which ought to be an interesting decision on Mr. Gallo when Beltre is ready to come back.
What do you do? But you got to get both those bats in the lineup.
Well, there's the DH.
Yeah, they'll find a way. That's to be sure.
Evan Gattis is 3 for 3 with 3 runs scored. He's had a hit to all fields in this game. There's strike 1 to Gattis.
Shame on me. That hit today, number 4 in the long ball department for Gallo.
Sucre talks about it with Lowe. Well, they still have Josh Hamilton out, so in thinking about left field, Delano DeShields has been playing there, but Mitch Moreland could move out there. That opens up first base for Fielder. So the DH could be the position for Gallo.
What is it about hits and smiles seeming to come together?
With a liner by lunging Miller into left field. Evan Gattis is 4 for 4. First 4-hit game of the year for Gattis.
The notable Major League call-ups now recently. Joey Gallo we've talked about. Of course, Carlos Correa, Byron Buxton, and Brownie's been talking about it. Number 2 prospect behind Carlos Correa, so he must be pretty good. Francisco Lindor. The youth shall lead them, and kids are starting to do it.
That ties Evan Gattis' career high, a 4-hit game. Carter's 0 for 2, hit by a pitch, scored a run. Strike to Carter. Gattis had a 4-hit game last year for Atlanta. No balls, 2 strikes to Carter. This has been a good roller coaster ride for Astros fans early in the season. And we've seen it in this 3-game series. 10 runs on 11 hits Friday night. 1 run on 6 hits Saturday. 10 runs on 11 hits in the 5th inning on Sunday.
Hey, Brownie, it's always intriguing to know who's out there listening, watching the ball game. I heard from Joe Sambito.
What's Joe into?
He was talking about we were talking about rather the Yankee killers through the years, and he mentioned Frank Larry, the Tigers, and I think that's a guy you mentioned as well. But
that's right.
Nice to have Joe Sambito on board.
Always. Come to Houston, Joe. We have a lot of fans who would love to see you. 1 and 2. Somebody saw him recently. Was that you?
No, it was not. I haven't seen Joe for a couple of years.
Terrific guy. He was quite a closer for the Astros.
Yeah, he was really a great teammate, and injury kind of took him down a bit. The Astros had some tremendous talent back there in the early 80s.
2 balls and 2 strikes. A belated happy birthday wish to Kathy Hudis of Virginia. Yeah, Joe told the story about when he was drafted by the Astros. His arm was killing him.
Oh, really? At that time of the draft?
Yeah.
Wow.
And he signed and he went to A-ball, and they needed a starter at Double-A, so they promoted him to start a game in Double-A, and he just knew he couldn't make it very long in that start. He was agonizing over what to do. He didn't want to tell anybody he was hurt.
Yeah.
But he went out there, and in the first inning, he just succumbed to the injury. So they put him on the disabled list and gave him time to rehab. And he said without that, he probably wouldn't have made it the way he did. But the time was what he needed for the arm injury to heal. And you know the rest of the story. He didn't get that Tommy John surgery until a long time into his major league career, right?
In the early 80s, the Astros lost J.R. Richard, Joe Sambito, and Dickie Thon. That is a pile of talent that went down.
Well, that's a body blow. 3-2 to Carter. Milwaukee still does not have a hit through 6 against Max Scherzer of Washington. The Nationals lead at 2-0. Scherzer has no walks and 11 strikeouts. He's thrown only 67 pitches through 6 today. This one grounded off the foot of Carter to third base. Still 3-2. Well, we talk about no-hitters as we were, Ash. Think back to Preston Gomez, who relieved 2 pitchers who had no-hitters going.
I recall, as soon as you mentioned the name Preston Gomez, I recall him being involved in the story, and I'm trying to think now who it was that had a no-hitter going into the 9th inning and he took him out.
Don Wilson had one, and Clay Kirby had one. There's a walk to Carter, and the bases are loaded with 1 out.
Yeah, what a challenge on a manager. I'm not so sure I could take a kid out after 8 no-hit innings.
Yeah. And that's the difference in the National League style of baseball, when you might be trailing 1-0 and you want to pinch hit for the guy even though he has a no-hitter going. Very agonizing decision. Now it's Rasmus. Colby is 2 for 2 with 3 runs batted in and a walk. 2 runs scored for Colby.
Well, these have been some long innings with the Astros at the plate that McCullers has had to deal with.
Strike 1 to Rasmus. The Astros are 6th in runs scored in the American League. They're 5th in total bases. It might be an uneven ride to get to those numbers, but the numbers are respectable. And as you know, they lead the majors in long balls. They got their 84th from Valbuena back in the 4th inning, his 14th. They lead the American League in steals with 50. So they have very respectable offensive numbers for the season.
And I would contend that even for the top clubs in runs scored, it's an uneven ride. You have those big scoring games like the Astros have had a couple of times here in this series. It's not like they run out there and every game score 6 runs. It just doesn't happen.
Tony Sipp is warming up for Houston right now. Strike 3 looking. Rasmus out number 2.
I don't think Colby's bought in on this pitch. Yeah, again, I think we've gotten to that point in the ballgame, 10-0. You better free up the swings with a couple of strikes on you.
Just thinking back, Ash, to early in Darryl Kyle's career. Can't remember if it was his first major league start or not, but he had a no-hitter through 6, if memory serves. And because of the same thing we're talking about here today with Lance McCullers Jr., he came out of that game.
Could be the story here this afternoon.
Yeah. Tony Sipp warming up now. Hank Conger's the batter. He had a 2-run double in the 4th inning. That's strike 1.
Hank rather was going to provide himself a big day with that swing. Ooh, you see Tony Sipp already throwing. What does that mean? Has the conversation already gone down that McCullers has earned the victory? You're not going to get to the 9th inning, and therefore let's make the change.
One ball, one strike. The usual line of discussion, if a decision like that is to be made, is we're thinking about the long haul. And that's what the Astros must do in this situation.
Of course, it's easy if you're that player to start thinking about the history books.
Two balls and a strike. It was Kyle's first start in the majors and his 6th appearance when he was taken out with a no-hitter in effect.
Wow.
He went 6 innings, did not give up a hit. Later did pitch a no-hitter for the Astros, as you recall, against the New York Mets at the Astrodome.
I love the shot that still lives of Kyle exulting following the final out of that ball game.
That was great.
That's real talk.
Kyle entered that no-hit bid through 6 innings with an ERA of 14.21.
Wow. So you knew it was coming, is what you're saying.
Guess he wasn't a reliever. No, who saw that coming? Charlie Furbush warming up for Seattle. And that one goes foul off the screen. In Santana's case, it was different, though, wasn't it? A veteran well into his career, 2 Cy Young awards. And he's just never been the same since that year. He's still, by the way, under contract to Toronto, working out in Florida. And you might see him in that Blue Jays rotation later on this year.
The Blue Jays club that just keeps climbing in the East.
Inside for ball 3, and it's a full count to Hank Conger.
They've won 10 in a row.
Isn't that amazing? Well, we saw the turnaround between the time that the Astros swept them here and the Blue Jays swept the Astros in Toronto.
Exactly.
3-2 pitch, bases loaded, 2 outs, the runners go. And Conger fouls it. He's had some good cuts. The Blue Jays are in flight, Ash. Look at how they're moving up in the standings.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. 3 games over 500, and I don't recall what the low point for them was, but I want to say maybe 6, 7, 8 games under 500.
Whose division is that going to be?
I think right now it's the Toronto Blue Jays, but injuries tell the story in a lot of cases.
To Conger, another foul ball, and Sucre is limping. He's down, in fact.
Not having a sweet experience.
Oh boy. Sucre is the word for sweet in Spanish.
Let's take a look at. Yikes.
Lloyd McClendon comes out. Sucre is the backup catcher to Mike Zunino, who has started the first 2 games in this series. Coming into this game, the Astros had 40 plate appearances this year with the bases loaded. This is their 6th plate appearance of this game with the bases loaded.
You know, that ball that hits the ground and comes up from underneath. Nothing else needs to be said. That's the one that really gets you. Lance McCullers trying to stay loose.
He's also trying to stay away from his manager.
Yeah. I wonder what Stromy's got to say. You're in there, or Lance is going to get one more?
Yeah.
It's just not going to last a whole lot longer. You know, this long inning might be the end of Lance.
It might be. It's a long time to sit. The Astros paraded 8 men to the plate in the third, 8 more in the fourth. Now here in the fifth, it's taken a while. Mark Lowe was drafted by Seattle in the 5th round in 2004. He was traded to the Rangers in July of 2010 in the Cliff Lee deal. Conger takes a bases-loaded walk, and it's 11-0 Houston. Conger's third RBI.
I would say, Brownie, and looking at the bullpen right now, Tony Sipp is starting to air it out like a guy who has the assignment to come in.
George Springer steps on home plate, his second run of the game. And Jake Marisnick will be the batter. Marisnick had the RBI double in the third inning. He's 1 for 3. Brewers are batting in the bottom of the 7th with no hits against Max Scherzer of Washington. They did get a hit. Okay. Carlos Gomez led off the inning with a single to break up the no-hitter in the bottom of the 7th. In for a strike, and it's 0-2 to Marisnick. Lowe came in Friday night and worked 2 scoreless innings in Houston's 10-0 win. A game in which Felix Hernandez made his exit after 1/3 of an inning, allowing 8 earned runs. So it's been an active weekend for Lloyd McClendon's bullpen here in Houston. 1 ball, 2 strikes. This is the 10th game of the season already between these two clubs. They'll be playing next weekend in Seattle. And the only remaining games here in Houston between the two are August 31st, September 1st and 2nd. And the Astros are in Seattle one more time after next weekend. That's the end of September. Marisnick is down on strikes. In the 5th inning, the Astros add a run. On 2 hits, they leave the bases loaded to extend their lead to 11-0. And Tony Sipp is coming out of the Houston bullpen.
Jack in the box takes us inside the box score. Lance McCullers left without yielding a hit today as he works it earlier in the ball game. Eventually got the pop out, and Lance with that fastball, as you could see in each one of those deliveries, pushing mid-90s, sometimes up to 97. Back earlier in the season, you can see on the far left there the velocity of the Astros staff and how it moved up when Lance McCullers in the middle spot there arrived on the scene and continues to push upward now right to the major league average as Vince Velasquez has come on the scene. So these youthful hurlers have really increased the velocity overall for the staff. Lance McCullers, a no-no through 5 today.
And as he leaves with those numbers, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts, he turns it over to Tony Sipp. He's 2-3 with a 2.49 ERA and an ERA of 0 in 3 games against Seattle. Seth Smith is 0 for 2. That's ball 1. McCullers threw 90 pitches, 48 were strikes. His ERA drops to 2.00.
Batting average against goes down, whip goes up.
Crazy, isn't it?
That tells you a guy's been pitching very well. If you give up no hits, even if you're struggling with command a bit, whip goes up. The guy's been extremely effective.
Tony Sipp has had 3 days of rest since his last game at Chicago against the White Sox, June 10th. 2 balls and a strike. He gave up a homer on the first pitch he threw to catcher Giovanni Soto. He came in with the game tied 1-1 in the 7th, and he took the loss. And the fastball is slipped by Smith for a 2-2 count. Tony was certainly one of the mainstays in this Houston bullpen last year. Now some reinforcements have arrived on the scene. And he's had some guys to share the late innings. He gets a swing and a miss and strikes out Smith. Strikeout number 5 for Astros pitching today.
This game is not going to pace along like a Dallas Keuchel pitched ball game, that's for sure, but Astros maybe a little too early to notch up the W, but it would appear to be within reason.
Austin Jackson's the batter. Here's a thought for you. Here's strike 1. Jackson's 0 for 1 with a walk. Tomorrow night's game might pace like a Dallas Keuchel game because Dallas Keuchel's pitching against Chad Bettis at 7-10. Dallas 7-2 with a 1.90 ERA, second best in the AL. 0-2. Tuesday at 1:10, it's Vince Velasquez and Chris Russin.
Who are the fastest workers of pitchers in the major leagues right now?
Bob Gibson.
Bob Gibson. Okay, he's top of the list.
He's not pitching anymore, but he's still faster than anybody.
Maybe following Mark Burley and Dallas Keuchel.
Well, Mark Burley and Dallas Keuchel, yes, right up there.
But you're going to still put Gibby at the top.
Still, you know the old saying, he pitches as if he's double parked.
Love that line. Of course, Greg Maddux would enter that fray.
Nobody double parks anymore, though, Ash.
You get your own parking space inside the stadium. Have you been to Toronto lately?
Not in a couple of years. Fly ball to left field. They're getting up in the seats, and that one ricochets off the wall, comes back to Colby Rasmus, and Jackson trots leisurely into second base with the first hit of the day.
And now our pitch by pitch presented by Steel Dealers. Top 4th inning, Robinson Cano takes the fastball on the outside edge. Another one gets the call on. Comes with the changeup at 90. And then pens one on the outside edge. Caught looking Cano as he strikes out for the second time on the afternoon. It wasn't the sharpest afternoon for Lance McCullers. I don't know if the stuff was even right there with his best. But when it's all said and done, Seattle had no answer for him.
So on an off day, he goes out and twirls 5 innings of no-hit baseball.
That may be the summation of how good his stuff is.
Strike one to Cano, who has struck out both times in this game. This guy must be really good.
Tony Sipp flipping that big slider to the left-hand hitters.
Tigers 2, Indians nothing. They're in the top of the 6th in Detroit. They were in a rain delay, and Alfredo Simon has come out after 5 innings. The Astros are out after win number 36 of the season today. It would be their 20th within the American League West. They would be 20-12 within the division if they win this game. It's a pretty nice start. In for a strike for Sipp, and it's 0-2.
Astros have come back down to earth a bit on the road where they started so well. They're 15-14, and another one of those pushing toward the West and in the West road trips coming up.
Colorado, Seattle, Anaheim. Shot on the ground. Valbuena looks the runner back. Goes to Carter. 2 outs.
Robinson Cano continues his struggles, though he had a nice at bat right there, hit the ball sharply, but right at Valbuena. But look at last year versus this year, 331, as he was stellar for the Mariners in his first year there. But with following this year, 8 years remaining on a very large contract, I'd imagine there's some concern right now. 282 on base, home runs, just a pair of them, RBIs way down.
Not what they bargained for. Cruz has walked and struck out looking. That's strike one for Tony Sipp. With that kind of a contract, the management thinking is usually, well, it has to be that big a contract to get him to sign. He's a superstar player. He'll draw people to the ballpark. We hope to win a World Series in the first 3 or 4 years of that deal, because it figures to be declining performance after that.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And on top of that, you hope you get 6-7 years of quality work with the bat. In this case, it looks like it might be declining a little early for Robinson Cano.
Might be. But what do you think of the Angels contract with Albert Pujols?
Well,
do you think that's been worthwhile for them?
To this point, yes, it would be my answer. Initially, I thought this was going to be a disaster, as he really struggled. He had some injuries the first couple of seasons. Really didn't look good. He's not running well right now, but he's still hitting the long ball and providing them a chance to win.
I think one of the best recent signings of mega millions, mega years is the Matt Holliday deal for the Cardinals.
Well, they find a way to win, and Matt Holliday's been a big part of things on the DL, I believe, right now.
Yes.
But yeah, they are doing something right.
Now, that's not to put him in the same category as the Giancarlo Stanton deals. Much younger player, Stanton.
Giancarlo Stanton, to me, that was a deal that was made to make the Marlins look like they're trying to win for their fans at home, those that exist, and try to bring them out to the ballpark. Tremendous young talent.
How's that working out for them?
Well, they're not exactly accumulating the wins at a rapid pace.
1-2. He's leading the world, though, in homers and runs batted in, right?
Really good in that regard. And he may throughout the contract.
Then there are things like getting extensions on cable TV contracts. When players are signed like that, that's a factor.
Yeah.
Up and in, that knocks the bat away from Cruz.
Yeah, that's an intriguing comment, because I imagine on the business side for the ball club, that does play in.
Yankees 5, Orioles 3. They're in the top of the 8th in Baltimore. Yankees will be coming here at the end of the month. Those should be well-attended games. Swing and a miss. He cruises down on strikes. That's number 2 for Sip. Number 6 for Astros pitching. No runs, a hit, and a man left for Seattle. It's 11-0 Houston. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. The Texas Legends Grill featuring Nolan Ryan beef right there. And a good-sized crowd on Sunday watching the Astros build a huge 11-0 lead on the Mariners. Robinson Cano has come out of the game at second base. Willie Bloomquist is at that position for the Mariners. There's Bloomquist at second for Cano. And pitcher number 4 has come out of the bullpen. He is lefty Charlie Furbush.
Furbush makes his 26th appearance on the year. Good ERA at 1.69. The lefties are getting dominated by this angular left-hander. Pitched quite a bit against the Astros. Not much success there.
Angular is right. He's listed at 6'5", Ash.
And you can see it on the hill. Big fella. And that would, for that left-hander coming out of the pen, create some tough angles, you would think, for left-hand hitters.
Valbuena has a homer and a walk. That's strike 1 to Luis. Mark Lowe in 1 inning allowed 2 hits and 1 run. He walked 2 and struck out 2. Blue Jays are pounding the Red Sox 13-5 in the bottom of the 9th at Fenway Park. David Ortiz hit his 9th homer. He's had kind of a quiet year. 0-2.
Not from the fans and media.
No, that's never going to happen. Ryan Goins hit number 2 for Blue Jays, who remain in flight, and Danny Valencia hit his 2nd. They're flying high right now, Ash.
Yeah, they're making a run at things, aren't they? Let's see.
Serious run.
See what it looks like in September.
In the air to right field, Seth Smith coming in. That's 1 out for Furbush. Tampa Bay, though, for me, is the big surprise team in the AL East. At 34-29, in a dead heat with the Yankees coming into play today.
And they're doing it without Joe Madden.
They're doing it without Joe Madden. But they still have Jim Hickey.
They do that. Their pitching coach, and done a nice job for a long time. Former Astros pitching coach. And I thought Hick might wind up in the broadcast booth at some point.
He could. Marwin Gonzalez had a bases loaded walk. He's 0 for 2. That's ball 1. Can you imagine being Preston Gomez with the media questioning him after taking 2 pitchers out of no-hitters through 8 innings? Fly ball left field. Marwin Gonzalez has it. One up into the seats. Home run, Marwin. Number 3. Another multi-home run game for the Astros. They don't lose when they do that.
They don't typically lose when they score 12 runs either. And you combine the two and you really got something going. Nice for Marwin. It's been a little bit of a rough spell.
Well, so it may work out pretty well with Jose Altuve having to take a seat with a hamstring issue and Marwin connecting for the 3rd time.
I'll bet you Jose is driving himself and maybe others crazy in the process, but Marwin gets himself a fastball in that cherry zone and hammers it.
That one's up around the shoulder of George Springer for ball 1.
Hopefully no message there.
28 straight wins for the Astros when they hit 2 homers or more. 22-0 this year. That's their 2nd of this game. Valbuena hit the 1st in the 4th inning. A liner out to center field is caught. Jackson's there, 2 outs.
There's one of your really good at bats too. I'd say the last 2 at bats for George Springer exceptional as he lined one into right center field and then hit this ball right back up the middle. Getting some knuckles there in the dugout. That is a good AB.
Carlos Correa is 1 for 4. He singled to start the 4th inning rally. The Astros got 5 in that inning. Strike to Correa. Very engaging young man who just seems to get it, Ash.
He does that, and I would say the same thing about George Springer. These guys that love the game, different personalities between the two. But you never know what's going to happen. But Biggio, Bagwell, synonymous with each other through all those years, and I wonder, could it be the same story for these guys? Lance McCullers and Vince Velasquez, who knows?
If you were to put together a Mount Rushmore of the 2015 Astros and you could only pick 4 faces. Broken bat roller.
Shame on you for asking that question.
Give you a moment to contemplate as we go to commercial. The Marwin Gonzalez homer makes it 12-0 Astros through 6.
the 7th inning. Follow the Astros all season with MLB.com At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment at any moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, statcasts, and more. Get MLB.com At Bat for your smartphone or tablet.
Preston Tucker checks in. He's the left fielder now. George Springer has come out of the game. Colby Rasmus has moved from left field to right. George had a hit and a walk and scored 2 runs. With the score 12-0, he gets a few innings off, and Joe Thatcher comes in. He's pitcher number 3. He's 1-1 with a 2.13 ERA.
And he's on a nice little string of shutout appearances, 8 of them.
But he's saying 8 is not enough.
No, 8 is never enough.
Kyle Seager's the batter. He's 0 for 2. 1 hit through 6 innings for the Seattle Mariners. This might be number 2. It is, because the shift was on and he slapped it to the left of Valbuena. Seager's 1 for 3.
As a major league hitter, make sure and hit the ball hard if you want to get hits or find yourself a hole. And the latter will work well on occasions.
Cute little guy, isn't he?
Got his cap. Don't try to take it away.
He looks a little bit like Joe Thatcher's little son who was in the clubhouse a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Don't know if it is or not. Logan Morrison's the batter. Strike 1 to Lomo. He's 0 for 2. Joe Thatcher had his little son who wasn't yet 2 in the clubhouse a couple of weeks ago. Little blonde-headed kid who looked just like that young man. And he had a baseball with him. He was just firing it at his dad from about 10 feet away.
You know, I've used that as kind of an example of what a changeup is like. It's that little kid who tries to throw it as hard as they can at you. They're only 5 feet away, and you flinch. You react like it's going to come 100 miles an hour, and then the ball just comes very slowly. That's kind of what the changeup does to a hitter.
Well, a few of us were flinching.
I'll bet.
The way that little kid was winding up, and he could throw the pill too. 1-2.
Apparently, he's not trusting his grip.
Here's a funny one for you. You know Brian McTaggart of MLB.com.
Sure.
And he may be here today. Maybe down in the press box. Well, Brian is kind of a look-alike for Joe Thatcher.
Yes, he is.
They really do closely resemble each other. So Brian McTaggart was walking down the concourse of the stadium a few weeks ago. Joe Thatcher's wife and his little 2-year-old were. You know what's going to happen now, right? The little kid was reaching for him.
I'll be darned. Oh, dear. I kind of had that story many years ago in the minor leagues with Dwayne Kuiper. And a little inappropriate hug that took place.
You and Kuiper?
Well, not the two of us hugging each other, but yeah, we'll just go from there.
It wasn't that you and Kuiper looked alike, though.
Well, yeah. That was the alleged story at the time. I'm not sure. Yeah.
We're not buying that.
No.
That's not the real story.
Big brother, little brother. He always called me little brother. So.
Dwayne Kuiper, fine play-by-play man for the Giants telecast.
Long time now.
Yeah. He's one of the greats.
He hits it high.
He hits it deep. He hit what? 1 home run high and deep in his career?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
1 major league home run, and he parlayed that into a very nice career.
So after hitting 1, how many do you think he has called?
Oh, dear. He had Barry Bonds in the fold there for a long time. I'm sure there were 73 on one given year.
Number 70 for Bonds came right here in this ballpark. Off Wilfredo Rodriguez.
Only made it to the upper regions of the second tank in right center, too.
Yeah, that was a shot. 3-2, steroid induced or not. A-Rod just passing the 2,000 RBI mark. to the #2 spot on the all-time list behind Hank Aaron.
Why did he follow the Barry Bonds conversation?
No apparent reason, right? 3-2. Well, you know, though, it leads to a whole different discussion with A-Rod having a good year this year.
Yes, he is.
After sitting out an entire year at that age, with drug testing very much a part of the major league scene now, it's a real dilemma for the people who will one day vote for the Hall of Fame, right, for him.
Well, maybe it'll be the wave of the future when a guy's career seems to come to an end. You tell him to go sit home for a year and come back, and we'll give it another try.
He's double capped for this game. I've seen people double cup with a hot cup of coffee. He's double capped.
I'm going to have to check out the selection of Astros caps right now.
Oh, there's a wide variety. Struck him out after a long battle. Thatcher gets a punch out, 1 down. Have you seen the Bun B cap designs in the gift shop?
That's one I haven't sought out. Maybe
some good ones.
Misguided, apparently.
I'll bring one in for you.
Thanks. Sure, you've got a variety.
I've got 2 of them at home.
Way to go.
They're outstanding. You didn't think it would happen, did you?
Well, I hadn't actually considered it, but
Dustin Ackley's 0 for 2. Not necessary to wrap in your cap. That's ball 1.
That's good. Yeah.
There's some.
Oh, okay.
Those are not the Bun B designs.
Find me a green one.
You can find a green one.
I need a green one.
You can find a black one. 2 balls, no strikes.
Does the Bun endorse any of those? Oh, that's nice. I like that. Yeah. That's good. Do you call him the Bun or the B?
I don't call him anything because I don't see him.
You guys might be getting along these days.
Well, we would if he showed up. 2 balls and a strike because he's a big baseball fan.
Yeah.
Here's another guy we're going to invite up to our booth sometime soon. Astronaut Terry Virts.
Yeah, I've heard you guys have a little astronaut talk recently.
He's a big baseball fan. He was watching Astros games, or at least keeping track of them, on the International Space Station, and he just came back to Earth in Russia or Kazakhstan.
How do they deploy in Russia for those? Are they?
They land with a chute.
Yeah, you kind of get the bouncy landing, right?
Yeah, it's a bouncy one. Little roller to Thatcher. Thatcher throws wide. There's the stretch. What a play by Marlon Gonzalez. Stretching to grab that throw for the force out for out number 2.
Really is a nice play by Marwin. Joe Thatcher, his delivery doesn't really provide the greatest opportunity for quick release. And he also comes up with that good sinker down and away. Good thing that Marwin knew what was coming.
Well, he throws to the bases the same way he pitches.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, you can't tell the difference in the delivery. Look at this. Wind it up, step to the crossover side. And see, Marwin called the pitch, and so he knew what was coming.
That was a heck of a play by Marwin. 2 outs, and it's Brad Miller. He's walked twice. At strike 1. Pirates beat the Phillies in the 11th, 1-0. And Jonathan Papelbon the loss. Cole Hamels started that game, 7 shutout innings, 1 walk, 12 strikeouts. Rasmus gets back in right field. And in the 7th inning, it's no runs, a hit, and a man left. We'll keep it right here for the singing of God Bless America. With the score, the Astros are all over the Seattle Mariners, and they have run it up big. 12-0.
Tradition here at Minute Maid Park, where we pause, not only to honor our great nation, but to honor and salute those who defend our freedoms around the world each and every day, some of whom join us this afternoon on the field. We invite you to join us now and National Guard Private First Class Raven Hearn as we honor America with the singing of God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairie, to the ocean, white wood foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet
Brought to you by Miller Lite. Evan Gattis has tied his major league high with a 4-hit game, and he has hit the ball all over Minute Maid Park today.
The only thing that would amaze me is if you told me he did it with the same bat all day long after that early AB that blew up the stick. Yeah, good for Evan. He's hit a lot of line drives for outs over the course of the season. Now a shot to get 5 knocks in a game.
The former closer for the Mariners is in, Fernando Rodney. He's 14 for 17 in saves. Has a high ERA of 6.75 in 26 games while going 2-3, tied for first in blown saves. And he's been moved out of that closer role, but has a chance to reclaim it. He will not be dipping into his quiver today. He normally shoots that imaginary arrow in the sky after he gets a save. Gattis is 4 for 4.
The artist formerly known as closer, huh?
Yeah. Roller to shortstop, charged by Brad Miller. One pitch, one out for Rodney.
Wow, have we had a one pitch out?
Probably not.
That's good.
That's a thought, though. You're right in this game, Ash, as always.
I'm hanging with you, trying to.
That's first. Charlie Furbish in 1 inning, allowed 1 hit, 1 run with no walks, no strikeouts. Chris Carter is 0 for 2. He was hit by a pitch and he walked. Well, George Springer had a 5-hit game, right?
Yep. That final game in Chicago.
Evan Gattis a 4-hit game, so some batting averages are on the climb recently. Carter takes it, and it's 2-0 in that Pittsburgh Philadelphia game. They won to nothing win in the 11th inning. Josh Harrison knocked in the game winner. A.J. Burnett, we talked about him earlier, went toe-to-toe with Cole Hamels. 9 shutout innings for Burnett. Jonathan Papelbon got the loss. He has been involved in trade rumors just about all season long. 2 balls and a strike. Phillies have some players they can unload. Hamels certainly at the forefront. And that will be the watch around their ball club up to trade deadline. See if they do that. But Hamels has several no trade teams apparently listed in his contract. 3-1. There have been rumors, speculation that he would want the option year on his contract picked up in return for considering a trade to several of those teams on the list, which would run through 2019 from what we've read. And that is a whole lot of money on the line for anybody who would pick up a Cole Hamels. Evidently the Phillies have made it abundantly clear they would be willing to take care of some of that money.
I'll take care of some if anybody needs help.
Carter draws a 1-out walk.
Our Mako big hit of the game, Colby Rasmus, back in the first inning, had one of those at-bats that may have been forgotten by now, but a 2-run producing gapper into right center field as Evan Gattis comes in for the second of those runs. And that kind of got the hit parade started today. 12 hits, 12 runs. Very nice day offensively.
Colby Rasmus has been on 3 times out of 4 trips. Good series for Colby. Strike 1 for Rodney.
By the way, Brownie, you mentioned again for the second time today between us A.J. Burnett. That no-hitter that I mentioned, he actually walked 9 San Diego Padres in that game while striking out 7.
There must have been a Padre on every pillow at some point.
Certainly should have been. I can't see a pitch count here, but I'm guessing it was above 70.
0-2. Twins 3, Rangers 3, bottom of the 7th in Arlington. No hits yet for Byron Buxton. He's batting 9th, playing center field, 0 for 3 in his major league debut. Rasmus strikes out, 2 outs. The Astros have yet to play the Twins. Twins are 5 games above 500, Ash. They're 33-28. If my math worked out well this morning, of the 30 teams in baseball, 17 are within 5 games of 500.
Balance?
Yeah, I think competitive balance is very good in the game right now.
Yeah, Minnesota for different periods of time had the best record in the American League.
Phil Hughes and Nick Martinez started that game today for the Twins and Rangers. Well, the Twins, of course, have been a major surprise. The Astros have been a surprise to many. The Rangers have been a major surprise. Just checking around the other teams that are lingering. The Cubs have been a surprise to some. Burnett threw 129 pitches, by the way, in that game.
That's not as high as I would have guessed with 9 walks.
True.
That leads to how many double plays behind him.
Yeah. Roll to second. Bloomquist going over to Morrison to get Hank Conger. And in the 7th inning, it's no runs, no hits, and a man left. It's 12-0 Houston.
Office and see a ball game right here at Minute Maid Park with the Astros 9-inning lunch break this Tuesday. That's 9-inning lunch break. That's June 16th at 1 p.m. Purchase your tickets today by visiting astros.com/lunch break, or you can call 1-877-9-ASTROS.
Will Harris will be pitcher number 4 for the Astros in this 12-0 ball game. He gets the 8th inning.
Talk about a guy that has stepped in and done a great job. 24th game of the year. A couple of home runs allowed in his last appearance. For a fella that hasn't allowed many runs this year, that would be the anomaly.
Jesus Sucre is the batter. He's 0 for 2. Ball 1. Joe Thatcher in 1 inning gave up 1 hit, no runs, had a strikeout. Well, we've heard on Twitter from Tupac without a nose ring, Ash.
How do you respond to that comment?
We'll get to it. But he's suggesting, and this sounds like a good idea, that we should get Bun B in the booth.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more.
At Bun B Trilogy, for those of you who follow him on Twitter. Carlos Correa takes care of out number 1.
Get Tupac in here at the same time.
All right.
This pitching performance is powered by Kubota. Lance McCullers, 5 innings of no-hit baseball on the frozen tundra. And that was a heck of a double play started by Marwin, and then the gun from Carlos Correa. But Lance McCullers not overly sharp today, and yet stuff just too good to get to.
Beautiful day for cotton candy and 5 no-hit innings by Lance McCullers.
Ball's not carrying, but the cotton candy is spectacular.
Strike to Seth Smith. He is 0 for 3.
Can I leave for just a little while?
No, you're not allowed to. You're getting paid big bucks, and you have to stay here. 1 and 2. Amy Graham has been on Twitter about her son's first Astros game today. She's here with Coach Graham with an infant, enjoying the day. Special day in the Graham family.
Somehow I imagine there are some rules in force there.
Correa with the toss to Carter makes it out number 2. A lot of families come out, of course, on Sundays, and it's been quite a show for them. They saw the Astros get 3 in the first, 2 in the third, 5 in the fourth, single runs in the 5th and 6th. It adds up to a 12-0 game, and some cotton candy thrown in.
It's everywhere. And you won't let me leave the booth.
No way, pal. You've got to get a CG today. Austin Jackson with ball 1. Jackson has a walk and a double. Just 2 hits for the Mariners. Harris is pitcher number 4. McCullers went 5. Sip 1. Thatcher 1. And it's 2-0. Tomorrow night, a brand new series brings the Colorado Rockies to Minute Maid Park. Chad Bettis of Lubbock and Texas Tech opposing Dallas Keuchel, who's 7-1. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Brownie, earlier in the game, you mentioned the Mount Rushmore group of players.
Yeah,
we got a tweet from the #1 Astros fan in the Mount Rushmore state.
Really?
Yes, we did.
You're kidding.
No, I'm not sure how you verified that, but
we'll check out Twitter. We'll get our Twitter researchers on it. What was the tweet?
No, it was just notifying us that he was out there listening. And
did he have the nominees for the 4?
No. Nor did either one of us.
We need to come up with something.
Although I would have to start with Altuve and Keuchel, either order. And then it depends how you're defining Mount Rushmore this year. But my inclination would be to lean Springer, Correa. Correa is yet just a babe in the fold, and yet I have a feeling it's going to play out very well.
What would lead you to think that?
Well, I've been reading some of the stories.
Okay. Not your own eyes.
Well, you know what? If you use your own eyes, it's not going to take you long to figure out this kid can play.
No.
That kid can play too.
Swing and a miss and a strikeout ends it. A 1-2-3 8th for Will Harris. Astros lead it 12-0.
With 12-0. Every Wednesday night home game is Dollar Hot Dog Wednesday, presented by Nolan Ryan Beef. The next Dollar Dog Buffet is Wednesday, July 1st, when the Astros take on the Royals. For more information, go to astros.com/dollardogs or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. Jake Marisnick leading it off for the Astros in the 8th. We were talking to A.J. Hinch before the game today about Marisnick. I asked him if he was concerned at all about Jake after he had gotten off to such a great start, where his head was. And A.J. said he's like every other young player. He's going to have moments where he's great and he thinks he owns the game, and then he's going to have moments where the game brings him back down to earth. And that's kind of what Jake has been going through. So it's good to see him today get that ground rule double and the RBI. Seems to be coming out of it bit by bit. But as Hinch said, if you had told him when the team broke spring training that Marisnick was going to hit 250 or so and play a great defensive center field, he would have taken that, guys.
Oh, yeah. He covers everything from here to Baghdad. Carson Smith is 1-2 with 2 saves and a 1.38 ERA, Ash.
Yeah, I agree. From here to Baghdad, huh?
Yeah. Marisnick had the RBI double that Bart talked about. He's 1 for 4. Ball one.
Between him and Gary Maddox, you got the earth covered, huh?
Well, Terry Poole signed on. He's a fan of Marisnick. He told us yesterday.
Should be. And one thing we haven't seen a whole lot yet is his throwing ability, but he's exceptional.
1 ball, 1 strike, 29,153 the attendance, Ash.
I might go on a limb and say the best throwing arm as a center fielder outside of Anthony Ghost that I've seen in the major leagues this year.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Max Scherzer pitched a 1-hitter and shut out Milwaukee 4-0. Washington's win. He struck out 16. Two balls and 2 strikes. There have been rumors that perhaps the Brewers might be parting with a veteran third baseman, Aramis Ramirez, in a deal if they get the right offer. He's already said he's retiring after this year.
Yeah, he has.
Struck him out looking, 1 out. Valbuena follows. He ripped a 2-run homer in the 4th when the Astros got 5. He's 1 for 3 with a walk. Colorado down Miami 4-1 in Miami. The Rockies are headed to Houston now. They'll be coming in with a record of 28-34. Jorge De La Rosa won that game for them, and John Axford got his 12th save. Valbuena takes ball 1. Tulowitzki's hitting .304, Ash.
He's that oft injured, very talented player that's starting to add some years now.
1-1.
Of course, the Astros don't need a shortstop, you wouldn't think, for the foreseeable lengthy future.
Ground ball single through the right side for Valbuena. And that's a 2-hit day for him. Let's move ahead. Bettis and Keuchel tomorrow night. Bettis and Russin both with very respectable ERAs for the Coors Field gang. And Vincent Velasquez makes his 2nd career start. That's an afternoon game Tuesday.
Get Dallas Keuchel back on the winning ways. He just continues to pitch very well. Vince Velasquez, he brings that average velocity of the fastball for the Astros upward.
It's ball 1 to Marwin Gonzalez. He has a bases loaded walk and a bases empty homer. Velasquez really has electric stuff. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Astros rotation in the beginning of the year was not a hard throwing rotation, but you're right in terms of just sheer average velocity. Velasquez and McCullers have brought the average up. And they've also been effective.
Yeah, that's the key. I mean, you like getting those really good arms. You have to have good pitching as the #1 thing, but it's getting younger and it's getting better is my main comment I would make about not only the starting pitching staff, but the team overall.
That's a strikeout for Marwin, and it's out number 2. Now Preston Tucker's up for the first time. He watched the Florida win the College World Series over Miami last night. At 2:53, the University of Florida product has 2 homers, 9 runs batted in. That's ball 1.
How much first base does this guy have in his history, whether it be college or pro ball?
We'll have to ask. (2-0) to Tucker. The Rays beat the White Sox 2-1 in St. Petersburg today. Chris Sale was the loser. But he struck out 12 in 6 2/3 innings and gave up 2 earned runs and 3 hits. Boy. Fly ball left field, back. Ackley out of room at the wall, and up off the wall. It is a hit for extra bases. Valbuena in to score to make it 13-0 on an RBI double by Tucker. Ackley tried to climb the wall, couldn't make the catch. Tucker's in with a 2-base hit.
Preston Tucker continues to show genuine pop going to left field. He's hit some balls that would easily have gotten out of this ballpark. This was more kind of the pop fly the other way that still found enough distance. I love what I've seen from Preston Tucker to this point. See what he does here to the scoreboard.
Oh, he took out a number. Punched out the number 1 for Milwaukee. Carlos Correa was strike one.
Brewers are irrelevant at this point anyway.
Yeah. He just KO'd the Brewers starting pitcher in the game, which is hard to do when you're not playing him. 9th double this year.
They have a better record than the Phillies.
Do they?
Man. By the way, you know what? The Astros with a win today go to 36 wins on the year, most in the American League. And only St. Louis has more. The Dodgers have 36.
That's interesting. 1-2 because the Astros have been in kind of a little downturn lately, so that would surprise some people. Well, their winning percentage was .556 before this game. And when you look at top winning percentages, they're not that high in the American League right now. Kansas City has the best, .576. The Yankees at .541 are behind Houston. So yeah, it's one of those competitive, balanced seasons so far in the American League. In the National, St. Louis 41-21, .661 winning percentage, by far the best in the big leagues.
They may be the only ball club right now that hasn't had some kind of a scuffle period of the season.
And it's amazing too because they've lost key players to injuries and they still keep churning out the wins.
How much credit does Mike Matheny deserve?
A lot. But it's just a terrific organization. You get the sense that they can plug in different people and it still works for them in that organization, right?
Why is that? Is it? Yeah, it's kind of that general question that I think has to linger anytime you're talking about that ability to, whether it be by trade or guys from the minor leagues. How do you do that?
I just think it's that type of winning organization that attracts free agents. With the fan base they have, with all the full houses, they have financial resources to go out and get people. He struck him out, and that's the end of the 8th inning with 1 run scoring on 2 hits and a man left. And the Astros lead is 13-0 moving to the 9th. By Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. $13-0. There's the line score for the Astros and the Mariners. We go to the 9th inning now, and Josh Fields is in to be pitcher number 5 for Houston.
Well, there's going to be some pure petro here in the 9th inning. Guy can flat bring it. 28 Ks already on the season, 16 innings.
Will Harris had an efficient 1-2-3-8 with a punch out. Willie Bloomquist is first up in the 9th. Bloomquist with that pitch going for ball 1. Has a 172 batting average, 458 at bats. Oh, we have some Mount Rushmore nominees.
Yeah.
1-1. George Springer, Washington. Jose Altuve, Jefferson. Luis Valbuena, Roosevelt, and Dallas Keuchel, Lincoln.
You got my mind just flying all over the place now. So you have to match who you're going to put them up there in place of?
No, I didn't know that. That's much more difficult than what we intended. 1 and 2. Somebody's taking this to new lengths.
Wow.
Valbuena speaks softly and carries a big stick.
That he does.
Keuchel and Lincoln both have great beards.
Yeah.
All right. Lundqvist is a strikeout victim, 1 out in the 9th inning.
I don't know if Abe actually had a great beard. It might have been a bit scraggly. Had he not been Mr. President, might have been urged to tidy that thing up a bit.
Well, you got to remember they didn't have electric shavers in those days.
That's true. Probably didn't run on down to your corner barber shop and get it taken care of either.
Nelson Cruz is 0 for 2 with a walk. Strike 1 to Cruz. We're also advised that Bun B teaches a class at Rice University, Ash.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure he's qualified to sit in this booth.
He's overqualified, that's for sure. Well, we're going to Bart right now.
Thank you, Brownie. Time for our Geico quote of the day, and it comes from Jason Castro on the raucous crowd of just over 32,000 that cheered them on Friday night. He said, toward the end there, I actually could not hear the umpire calling balls and strikes. Those are the kind of problems the players like to have. You look at the 3-day attendance, guys, just over 32,000 Friday, 36,700 Saturday, 29,153 today. They're just under 100,000 for the 3-game weekend series. That's the best 3-game stretch of attendance all year long, best weekend attendance all year long. So this team's playing a good brand of baseball, and the fans are taking note, guys.
There's ball 1 to Kyle Seager. Seager's 1 for 3. They're watching a first-place club with a 1.5 lead on Texas. Texas currently tied 3-3 with Minnesota after 7 in Arlington. Strike 1-1, and a lot of people have really enjoyed the opportunities they've had to see baseball here in the early portion of the season. Now more and more are coming out in person.
Now Bart was a part of all 3 games. Did you notice there's a correlation there with big crowds and Bart being on hand?
What are you saying about Julia?
Well, Julia probably gets nice way to put me on the hot spot. Come on back, Julia.
Yeah, she'll be here tomorrow. She'll be here.
Yeah, I think she's back in.
Okay.
Hope she enjoyed the days off.
They've seen 13 runs on 14 Houston hits. They saw 5 no-hit innings from starter Lance McCullers Jr. He would go to 3-1 with an ERA of 2.00. Big day for Evan Gattis with 4 hits. Home runs by Valbuena and Gonzalez. Seager checked to swing. Dana DeMuth with the call. 2-2. Foul back. Those Correa shirts are selling like hotcakes, aren't they?
Seems to be the hot item right now, and maybe for a long time to come. Yeah, I just want to see this core of players start to come together and play consistently together for a long time. And again, I mentioned Bidger, Bagwell, Caminiti, and that core group that got strung together and started the winning ways.
This would be the Astros' 5th win by shutout this season. It would make it 5 straight series wins for them over Seattle. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Doesn't hurt your cause a bit in the West, does it?
No. A win today gives the Astros an 8-2 record against the Mariners this season. Ball 4 and Seager's aboard. Logan Morrison coming up. Walk number 5 for Astros pitching today. Astros are second in the league in fewest walks by a pitching staff. Morrison's 0 for 3. Yankees beat the Orioles 5-3 in Baltimore. Mark Teixeira's driven in 47 runs.
Comeback player of the year?
Could very well be. Strike to Lomo.
I guess A-Rod would qualify for that award, huh?
He would certainly qualify. Oh, 2 now.
It's a pitch we haven't seen a lot from Josh Fields this year. That changeup, he's got a dandy.
One ball and 2 strikes. The Astros now have hit 17 homers in their last 6 games against Seattle. Foul back. Next weekend, the Mariners will have the Astros at Safeco Field.
While the U.S. Open golf goes on in Seattle.
You and Jeff Blum will be behind the ropes, correct?
Yeah, and a different site, a different hotel there for us as well. I tell you what, I'd love to find a way to get out there and see some of that great action.
You could be caddying if you play your cards right.
You know, I did that once. Way back when. Keith Fergus. Caddied for him in the Bob Hope Classic.
Nice.
Yeah.
How did he do?
Well, he had a great first game. I read a putt for him a couple of balls out. He said he completely agreed. 25 feet, made the putt, and told me it was the other side he was reading.
Struck him out to end it. Josh Fields preserves the shutout for the Astros. A combined shutout for 5 pitchers. McCullers, Sip, Thatcher, Harrison, Fields. And they are back with plenty of offense early in this game. 13-0 the final. The Astros take 2 of 3 this weekend from Seattle. They're 36-28.